Adam, had you known you'd have to hear about the injury this much, would you have still pushed him off the paint booth?
You had quite the spill there. All seriousness, that was pretty scary.
Yeah, I was got lucky, that's for sure. I mean, about 12 feet, landed on my hands and knees. And if you give another shop $10 million, could they build what you guys build? Or could they build that 36?
That's the best point.
Can't.
Dude, that's the best point.
Right? They can't.
Have you had experiences then where you thought you brought like
I had one.
the best that you could do?
I think I've only had one time where I really thought I brought it.
We've talked about it.
Did you think that the car that won was better than you?
No.
No.
Okay.
Not in that scenario.
Jesse knows it wasn't either.
There's plenty of time.
Welcome, everybody, back. Another episode of Oil and Whiskey. This week, we have a very special one. We've had Troy. We've had Adam. Now we have Adam and Troy, both at the same time. The dream team, fresh off of a big win and fresh off of a
big loss.
big loss.
Short career in concrete skydiving.
This was scheduled.
It was going to work out perfectly right after that big win, but there was somebody fucked the schedule up a little bit. It wasn't you, was it?
Little setback.
It wasn't. It's never me.
Adam pushed me through my paint-proof roof. And
Yeah.
now I have a metal kneecap and wrist.
It was.
Did you have to fab any of that?
No, thank God.
He did work on all the wheelchair and all the braces and stuff. So
Yeah.
And I've got
We're on knee brace 5.0 now.
yeah.
two individual little stories that shows you where Adam's priorities are. One, right? So he calls fresh, like this is probably less than 24 hours. Hey guys, I just want to let you know this is what happened. I didn't want anything to be screwed up at the podcast schedule. So can you fill this gap, right? I can come up there, by myself and forget it. I'll bring the car up there, forget it. But this is what I'm like, oh damn, is he okay? Oh, he's still in the hospital, but forget about that. Like on the podcast side of
Don't
things,
worry
is
about
everything good?
Yeah.
You drinking any whiskey? Or you?
Yeah.
You guys should have came to the hospital and we done a podcast.
We could have done that.
That would have been good.
That'd have been cool.
Yeah.
So then he tells me, he's like, hey, just letting you know, and so I, send a text, and he's like, it's fresh, I don't know how many people he wants knowing about it, so kind of keep it. I was like, okay, understood. Well, then that next weekend we're going to Jesse's for the remote podcast. We did Jesse and Alan and Bobby. Walk in, hadn't been there 30 seconds. Bobby comes up, man, you hear what happened to Troy? And he's telling him the whole place. And I was like, well, I guess it's not a secret anymore.
You're drinking beers. I'm assuming you're no whiskey, or you want?
This is heavier.
He's got it.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Similar color to
Yeah, it is.
the top of the glass where it's clear.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's driving home. So.
Yeah, that's urine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really good. 17 years. Look how dark that is.
Yeah. You guys are drinking. That's probably not half the alcohol I'm drinking.
Probably not.
Like you'd have to drink a fucking keg of that to equal this glass.
Two kegs.
Considering
Probably-
it's medication, you have no idea
It is.
what results.
I think it's like 2.4 on the alcohol scale. Oh yeah, it's
That's
real
like
heavy.
Gatorade almost.
It is. Yeah.
That's a nice little car show parking lot beer, though.
No, it is.
Putting down 14 of them.
Right. Exactly.
Yes.
I think those are
getting rehydrated.
You can drink while driving with those, right?
You can. It's against in Illinois. You can.
It's good. It's an ultralight. All right, you're good. So you had quite the spill there. In all seriousness, that was a pretty scary fucking call.
Yeah, I was got lucky. That's for sure. I mean, about 12 feet, landed on my hands and knees, and could have busted. I didn't hurt my back or my neck, or I don't think I hit my head. I might have, but nobody can tell.
TBD.
Yeah,
No, it was
scan pre
as bad as as bad as the knee injury is, more so than even the wrist. It could have been a hell of a lot worse. So
Yeah.
but,
On the bright side, it could have been an employee that filed a workman's comp claim
Oh,
on
yeah.
you. So
well, I did use all my deductible up on the way to the ground.
yeah.
So, but,
Unfortunately, as the business owner, you're just straight fucked.
oh yeah,
There's nobody there for
absolutely,
you.
Yeah. You get to pay, and
You're on
pay.
your own.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Them ambulance rides are.
Oh yeah. It was like $6,000. We went about
Expensive.
5 miles. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
They
It's,
should tell you that beforehand and give you the option.
Like, you'd look okay, dude.
Yeah.
Like if we can take
Yeah,
you
we are
quick, but it's going to be $5,500,
I'll
or
just
you can
walk.
get your wife. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they don't exactly position it like it's an option. I've
No.
only had one in my life, and it was like I could have totally driven, but they don't give you like, hey, dude, this is going to cost a small fortune. You look like you can still kind of handle yourself.
I've never
You wanna
had an
drive?
ambulance ride. Never.
You're due. Probably your age, all that smoking, dude. It's gonna
At
be,
this age, if it's an ambulance ride, it's gonna be the last ride.
Hey, Josh,
to the morgue.
I can smoke you in the kneecap with a bat.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
No, what'd you say? $6,000? I'll get somebody to pick me up.
I'll walk.
Yeah.
I tell you, and two things though that really, having the guys like Adam and Lawrence and Moose and I've got 5 of them been there at least 20 years. The one thing I absolutely didn't worry about was the shop, and Adam had to absorb the brunt of everything, but everybody stepped up. But when you have guys, it is, and it's a small group anyway, and you have them there that long,
that's good.
That wasn't a problem, and just being at home, I'm not much of a sit-at-home guy, zero, so that was a little tough. But you really find out how good your wife is. I'll tell you that. She saved my ass. So
Literally.
she did. She wiped my ass, saved my ass. The shit she did, it was. I'm telling you, crazy.
What'd you binge watch? You had to find some stuff to watch.
Let's see. Peaky Blinders.
Yeah.
That's a good.
Watched the whole thing. You burn it out quick when you're there. Trust me. That was probably the longest thing I watched because we'd watched a lot. Most.
Yeah.
My wife, that's your hobby at night when you don't have kids anymore.
Yep.
Much as
All 8 seasons
Yeah.
of British baking.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Your favorite?
Yeah.
Here we go.
It is.
Fucking lit up.
I love that show.
He knows, dude. He's fucking.
I know. But
Who was your favorite baker on there
Yeah, I didn't watch it.
of all 15 seasons?
I went on an American Pickers binge.
Well, that's
During
a
my little
deep pull.
Yeah.
situation.
Yeah.
It was all I had limited access, not a lot of channels, and it was. That's good.
I was in the hospital.
Yeah, I got the past the time.
Right.
Yeah, it's
Old
it's
Frankie.
tough. We did 2 bulldogs. That was good. I'm glad we had the dogs. That kind of passed the time. But yeah, it wasn't. Slept in the recliner for 8 weeks
Oh.
Yikes.
because you can't. You couldn't hardly get in bed. You couldn't roll over. You couldn't bend your leg. You couldn't. I tried sleeping in. We got one of them beds that bolt bends and all that
Yeah.
shit. And you couldn't get comfortable. Felt like you were trapped. So it was.
No.
Yeah, it was. You
That's a
take it
long
for
time.
granted. I tell you that. And then I'm in a walker where this leg's locked stiff and I can't use this wrist, so I got this elbow pad skidding across the.
That sounds
Oh yeah,
so
it was
cool.
awesome. Yeah. I got all the handicap equipment at home. I got that thing that sits over the toilet.
You
Walkers,
There's my
shower
idol
stools.
crippling his way across.
You take it for granted, but it sounds like you're describing basically Mike Ring fucking blocking a car.
Exactly right.
Hobbling around, he goes, sits on the
Yep.
can with a little assisted toilet.
You got it. Yeah, it was. It was something. But now it's getting better every day. So it is what it is. Back to 10 or 12 hours a day. So
For all you listeners, see,
Yeah.
Troy, he's human. Absolutely human. Not
That
robot.
was the first time he showed human blood in there.
But it's better standing up than it is even riding in a truck, man. So that's the good thing of it. So
How's the wrist, though? I mean, the
it's pretty good. We're just starting to do strength training stuff. So I'd probably overdo it at the shop, but
Yeah.
it gets way more sore than my knee. My knee just won't bend. But it's
Were you right-handed?
yeah.
That's
Oh,
tough,
yeah.
man. Because there's a lot.
Yeah, you think about it, but
working,
like
that's-
we started with finger therapy like right away. So for 5 weeks, I did all this finger jazz, and then believe it or not, that was painful because everything's swollen up through the back and all your tendons and shit running there. That was tough, but I mean, I can move them good. Like anything you do at the shop, it's funny. Like 3-inch grinding or running a lathe or welding it. It just automatically adapt like incoherently already, and I can tug on it pretty good. I mean, it's healed that way, but you pull on it a little bit, it gets sore quick, but
I tried to get him to go bowling with me last week in Nebraska, and he didn't want to do it.
Well, I had my left leg. The hand was no problem. It's my plant foot.
Troy's saying he can tug on it pretty good. I know.
Yeah, I can tug on
That's
it.
our clip.
Yeah, I can tug on it.
Yeah, I can tug on it pretty good now.
Yeah,
Had
so-
you, Adam, had you known you'd have to hear about the injury this much, would you have still pushed him off the paint booth?
No,
Wasn't worth it?
If I could go back in time, I wouldn't have pushed him. No.
So it's good.
Well, getting into the whole reason why we're here. So we had this really great plan and schedule that you guys were going to come right after Grand National Roadster Show, right? That was the plan. Last time we had done a deep dive in the car, talked about it debuting there. Luckily, me and Jeremy were out there and we got to see the car firsthand. I mean, obviously, nobody knows what's going to happen, but it was.
You knew it was gonna
it was pretty obvious what was going to happen. still got to go through the motions. You do the thing. We had this plan. You had your unfortunate accident. So now we're here. We're going to talk about what we were planning on talking about right after the show. So the car went and did what you intended it to do. Obviously, everybody's kind of seen that.
I suppose. Wait, I'm going to derail this just for a second.
Do it. Derail.
Before we get to
One of us is going
because
to.
You introduced Troy and you introduced Adam, but we don't know which Troy it is yet.
Well, this is.
Well, I'm Adam.
Okay.
So
And Troy Heavy. And now we know. Troy.
I'm put that on.
Oh, we should have. Everybody should have name
We
tags.
should do
Sorry,
name
I'll wear
tags.
mine in case you guys
hello,
forget.
my name is
we got-
Slim Shady. I don't have one.
We got the Troy Light beer. up
Yeah, we
there.
got Troy Light right up there, and
Yeah.
you got Troy Heavy.
I'll sign the sticker and leave it.
You might be
gotta-
Troy
they don't-
Medium now.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
We got to pull that 6-pack down. And you got to sign that. 'Cause Troy was
Yeah.
pretty proud of
No,
that.
absolutely.
Troy Heavy needs to sign Troy Lights.
I'm not going to put mine on because I'm the only Adam that's been on here. So.
Uh-huh. The real deal is my wife wanted me to lose weight, so she said, "Why don't you skydive on the concrete?" So we tried every other weight loss program.
That'll
It
get
works.
done.
It works.
But you're just sitting. I would just eat. If I'm sitting there in a recliner all night long, I'm gonna eat.
You ever have surgery yet?
No, I haven't.
You ever been constipated? You don't eat much.
Gotcha.
You ever shit a bowling ball encrusted in diamonds?
That's
You don't want to eat, huh?
You don't want to eat.
If you want to eat, get off the couch and get it.
Yeah,
understood.
exactly.
Understood.
But yeah, the car thing, you know how it is. It's a car show, so it's a matter of opinion. I mean, all you can do is bring your best, and what happens, happens. But, you know, I mean, it's obviously, you know, we thought we brought a pretty good car.
That's what I wanted to get. I mean, obviously, yeah, it's a car show. We've talked about it. We've talked about it off air, on air. I mean, ad nauseum. You've been doing this for a long time. I don't want the PC answer from either of you. I want the real, like, we're all human beings. When you load that car up in the trailer and you're headed out west, what are you feeling? Like, is this the best car we've ever built? Are you feeling you gave it all? Regardless of what happens.
You got to start by feeling that I hope this fucking car makes it there in one piece. It's in the trailer.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
That's what we're all thinking, like when we load anything up.
But where's the mindset at, really?
Yeah. You go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, it's the best we could do for sure. It's the best we've done by a mile. I mean, hands down. And, you know, obviously it's built from scratch, but my new saying thing is, you know, you got to be able to, number one, is you got to be able to use it, and you got to be able to work on it. You know, and working on it means taking it apart, putting it together, and you don't have to repaint the whole thing, or it's all tore up because, you know, counterbore, O-ring, whatever. So it's a very good car when it comes down to that. And, you know, I mean, deep down inside, you're like, man, it's going to take a pretty bad son of a bitch to beat this thing. You know,
Yep.
personal opinion.
Yeah.
You know, number one, it's built from scratch.
Yeah.
But the X factor for that car is, for the Ford guys, is, you know, it's the 36 Ford never made.
Yeah.
It's our version of it, but that's the X factor. I mean, some cars have an X factor like that, and, you know, if it's a traditional, it's a 32 or it's a Model A, I mean, fuck, I mean, you've seen them 10,000 times, so how can you step out of the box? So even though this might look like a little bit of a 33, 34 in the back, whatever, but it still resembles a 36. So I think that was big. And then, you know, obviously we built everything but the tires and the engine block and the transmission. So, I mean, that helps if it's pulled off correctly.
Yeah.
And I felt, you know, we didn't cut any corners, and then, you know, it wasn't like, maybe they won't see that. I mean, it was thorough.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't know. I mean, it's our best by a mile. So
What are you feeling?
I would say the same thing. Building the car, I felt like it was the best work I had done to date. And as far as the project as a whole, I mean, Ross gave us, you know, unprecedented freedom on that car to do what we were going to do on it. Sometimes that's a good thing. Sometimes it's bad. I mean, you get nervous about, you know, whether he's really going to like what you're doing or not. But as we were nearing completion on it, you certainly feel like, okay, well, this is the best work that I've done. It's the best that maybe we've done to date. And so sort of the same sentiment, I told a number of people, you know, that doesn't guarantee a win in a car show, but if something beats it, I sure want to see it. I mean, that's the bottom line, because you do never know.
You don't.
You do never know. You have a pretty good feeling that you brought the best you could possibly do, and from Rad Rides, that's saying something. But somebody might be bringing the best that they've ever done by a long shot.
Well, that's why I wanted to kind of talk about it and get in, because it's from the outside looking in. I would assume it seems like a very interesting, difficult headspace to be in, specifically in your shop, you guys as individual talent, the shop's talent, the history that you've been doing it, the highest level of cars that can be built. You guys have built them. I mean, you start running through the names. You're not talking about, just everyday cars. This is like the best of the best. I know what me and Jeremy talked about and what we saw at that car. I also saw you guys' excitement level in showing us through this car, right?
Yeah.
So I know that, and I see the difference in it. But I also know how long you've been doing this. One, you've got the internal mental body of work in your head of like, well, that car was great, but this is better here. That car was great, but it's better here. But then you also, like we always talk about, is you've been around it for so long, you also seen behind the curtain, right? So you also know the bad side or the car show side or the wild things that can happen. You also know that people could be bringing stuff, right? You never know.
Yeah.
So it's a very difficult spot to be of like, this is the best, for a sports analogy, season that I've ever put together, right? I'm hitting
Is that
on
what they
all.
say in sports?
It's an analogy, right?
Sporting games.
If you're a team owner, right? This is the best season that we put together. So, but it's a difficult space when you're like, I've seen crazier shit happen, but this is the craziest and best thing that we've ever built. That's a long ride out there with your mind to be like, you've seen this before. Don't get yourself. We've all told ourselves, we've told our customers, we've told our guys at the shop, don't start buying into that hype.
You're just saying that because we've lost a lot of things. Like, we bring a lot of cars up and you're like, shit. I thought it was good, but
Okay, so have you had experiences then where you thought you brought like
I had one
the best that you could do?
I think I've only had one time where I really thought I brought it.
We've talked about
Did
it.
you think that the car that won was better than yours?
No.
No.
Okay.
Not in that scenario.
Jesse knows it wasn't either.
There's plenty of time.
Jesse knows that.
not that
There's
scenario.
two then.
But there's been plenty of times where 100%. Like you've lost something. You're like 100%. That fucking car was way better. Like I'm glad to be up there with it, but we weren't the winner.
But everybody's gone through those times. This would be 100% different conversation if you've got an up and comer or somebody that's had some success, but this is the biggest stage. So you're like, it's easy to fall into that trap of be like, oh hell yeah, we got this in the bag, we got this. Then when you get to the show and everybody's saying the things that they always say, that's the hype that's hard to be like, oh, you got this, you've got this, you've got this. And everybody says that. Well, nobody ever comes up and be like, I don't think you're going to win. Right. Hey, just being honest, good car, but that dude over there's got a way better car. Nobody says that. Everybody says it. So it's a difficult thing when
they'll
you've
say
got,
it to me. They won't say it to Troy. Yeah.
You specifically, y'all have a very unique experience in that because of how many badass cars you've done. And what I saw as your excitement level, your willingness to show through things, you could just see it in your faces. Like, this is, look at this, look at this, look at this, look at this. And the quality of work. You're like, well, it's the fucking best. It absolutely is the best. You've had crazy cars come out of that shop. That, for some reason, that car did it for me because of just...
It's over the top.
Like you said, built from scratch, but I'll talk about it in a little while, but I've never, at all the cars, I've never gun-sighted a car that does what that car does. Like, it's from top to bottom, front to back. Like, it's a fucking optical illusion on stuff where all the lines disappear. Flat out all the lines. You can go from that bottom right quarter panel and get your head in and you see all the way to the grill shell without a interruption at all.
Magic body filler.
Yeah, body filler. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
You guys use that stuff?
Yeah, you just leave it partially wet.
It'll move around.
Gotta mold it.
Pile it on there.
It's like a sculpture you get in there.
Yep.
It's kind of like Bobby said, Josh, a lot. I guess what I think about a lot is if, let's say you didn't win, I just want somebody to explain to me how we need to be better. Right?
Yeah.
Sure.
So,
Yeah.
And Bobby's got a good point there, and he judges a lot of stuff, and he'll give you his opinion. You better be able to handle it. Whatever.
He doesn't hold back.
And that's okay though, because, but that's what I would want to hear. I'm like, okay, that's fine. How should we do it better?
Yeah.
You better, and not being a jerk, but you better be a pretty bad dude because
Yeah.
I think
Brought
it's
a fucking
pretty
hammer.
cool.
Yeah.
You know, it's always a matter of opinion on style and stuff, but like execution,
Right.
you know, we don't think we miss a whole lot.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, and I guess to come back to your question, Josh, it's one thing to be confident in what we did and know that it's our best work, as a shop. But we've all seen car shows and judging go strange ways before. Maybe
Yeah.
not with our experience in the cars that we brought, and so I think honestly we're probably more realistic about that than most are.
Yeah.
Troy's been doing this for 30 years professionally, and I mean that's a long time to be taking stuff around and seeing the results of different shows and that sort of thing. And the bottom line is, you don't know unless you don't. I mean, it's still a matter of opinion. It's still I don't even know how many judges are there. Let's say 7 individuals that are deliberating on what it should be. And then if it's not clear about, this is what we're really looking for, then it's open to interpretation. Yeah, it's subjective. So even though, we maybe thought that we brought the greatest thing that we've done, it's going to have to be something pretty bad to beat it. You still don't know.
Yeah, I know. But at the same time, just like you said, everything but the tires and the block was hand built, right? So in your mind, you're like, its car's really, really nice.
yeah,
And I can find very little, if zero, faults on it. But they also bought that body, right? So
Right.
in your mind, you're like, well,
right.
I think it was a great point of saying, like, we might not, but explain to me why.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Show me the one that did.
There's a lot of cars built from scratch. I've been around them back with the Marcel Boyd stuff, but a little bit I always say when I talk about this, door hinges, door handles, steering column, radiator tanks. I mean, it's all that other stuff too, that we did. That a lot of stuff when you even build a body from scratch, you're buying all them little stuff, and that's fine. But this one was pretty thorough, and I learned a long time ago. Like I did my '60 Chevy in 1990. Went to Canfield, Grand Champion, had all them big old rings and stuff, right? Hot rod centerfold, the whole deal. Go to our local Mantino car show, 3rd place.
Yeah.
So
That's humbling.
right,
You didn't even get a ribbon.
3rd in class. It's just awesome, right? I mean, so that's just, that, not that that's a good example, but that's how it works.
That's a perfect example.
That's why, Bonneville's fun, It's put up or shut up, like I said. And, when you get cocky out there, the connecting rod comes out of the pan,
Oh, yeah.
so.
Slaps you.
There's no
Yeah.
opinions out
Yeah,
there.
no, it's do
Well,
it.
that's what you're talking about, some other hand-built cars. And I mean, a lot of car shows over the past 30 years, show cars, there's art and then there's functional art.
Yeah.
I think you were kind enough, y'all loaded the car up, y'all brought it up here, let all the guys in the shop see it, and then we took it out for a ride. Like you were given rides in that thing, and it was not only functional, it functioned well, like extremely well.
Yeah, that's the most impressive thing because so many of those cars, I mean, I don't have to tell you guys, when you build them to that level, either A, you don't want to drive it because you're scared to death, or you've done some shady things that maybe aren't like conducive to driving, but that car works so well. Like, it's fresh as fresh can be, and I mean, it's tight and rides good and handles good and sounds good. That's to me, that's the greatest accomplishment out of the whole thing, to build something to that level and it goes down the road that well. That's fucking.
And that was the difference.
Wild,
That was Adam's idea, and it was a great idea because, I mean, otherwise we could just sit here and talk about how cool we think it is, but at least you got to experience that side of it because that's the better side of it. I mean, I'd rather wreck it than wipe it off. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I mean,
It won the award now, right?
yeah, but that's the key, right? I mean, and that's why I'm excited. I was talking to Phil about when flying. I've never been more excited to have the customer come out and drive and ride in it for the first time.
Yeah,
because it's pretty darn good, man. And I don't know what he's expecting, but I think he's going to be pretty shocked because he has a lot of cars and a lot of different styles of car.
Sure.
And it's comfortable. I mean, you wouldn't have no problem going long distance, and it ain't like, hey, I just brought you for a ride. And it's like, yeah, it's cool, it made it. You went for a ride, but I mean, it's like now you can see out of it's comfortable, it rides good. It's not noisy and beating you to death and all that stuff. So
I mean, we've all been around this long enough that looking at that car, not knowing what you did or what you put into it. Just seeing that car at a show is not exactly, especially with your previous history of going to shows and seeing cars and working on other people's cars, it doesn't scream like, you know what, that's the one you take on a road trip, right? You're looking at it like, that's amazing, right? But it doesn't scream like that thing would handle good, it would ride good, it would sound good. He's got all your like show car bugs, you know?
Yep.
That has no show car bugs.
How much of that planning was in the very beginning stages to get the ride quality, the ergonomics, the way you sit in the car, the visibility out of it?
That was, obviously the torsion bar stuff, we did the Model A, and it really turned out good. And that was our first experiment with that stuff. And man, I drove it. Furthest I drove that was to, from the shop to Nebraska to the wheel hub thing. And then Mariani's drove it. First time that lunatic ever drove it was 1,500 miles, so.
Good maiden voyage.
Yeah. So it's so we had a little bit, like we kind of knew a little bit what to expect. And then we just kind of refined that a little bit. And, out as you guys know, that the list gets smaller every time when you're done on, okay, we got to tweak this a little bit and do that a little bit. And each time it just gets smaller. And that one was pretty small. We haven't done very much to it. And Adam's messed with it a little bit. And
you guys actually save that list instead of just throwing it away afterwards?
Yeah, you kind of, it's that mental list all the time. And so that we haven't done much. It needs just a tick more tuning, but not. You could get away with just not even doing nothing. But we want to make it better. But it's, I don't know. It really turned out good. And we kind of knew what to expect on the ride. But even I finally got in it 2 weeks ago in the passenger seat. And he brought me for a ride, and I'm like, man, it's good.
Yeah, it's a really good car.
It's good, and that's the thing. And I probably did 15 power tours or maybe 20. I don't know. I did the first one. I did a bunch of them. We've driven most of the stuff that we built. You're driving cross country and you get out and you can't walk, not from being hurt, but the pedal's in the wrong place, and you stare at the temperature gauge and you do this and you do that and you learn all that, and it makes it better. But it'd be nice to, like, everybody that like really got their skirt blown up looking at it, if you could give them a ride, right? Because then it's just a whole nother thing.
100%.
Right? Yeah. Then it's just a whole nother thing, man. Then they're like, God, it's like shit.
Especially if their skirt's getting blown up.
Yeah, right?
Absolutely. Give them a ride.
What was so cool is going for a ride in it here, because this is, I test drove every car we've ever built and every car that's come through the shop for the past 20 years on that same.
You knew exactly which spot.
So I'm looking at like a bump I know there's one gnarly little bump, like right when you get, past like the last few roads there, and you're like, kind of like brace yourself, and the car's just.
Is that why you grabbed my leg?
No,
that was for different reasons.
You were right.
I thought we agreed we weren't going to talk about it.
Oh, sorry.
I was excited about the whole experience.
$20.
Yeah, right. You got it.
And you kept looking over at me. I just thought it was like, I don't know.
It's calling you
fucked
in.
up, dude. I read the situation.
Yeah, no, okay. All right. Well, we won't talk about it from here on.
Good thing I have a radio and probably a little douche coupon or something.
But
It was cool you went with it, though.
Yeah. Sure, yeah.
That was the neat thing. I've driven everything over that, and that car, for being so over the top, and man, it just sucks it up. It just rides so good. It's really impressive.
And a little bit about Phil's question there, when you're talking about how much of it is done up front. Like Troy said, suspension wise, it's very similar to the Model A. There's a few things that are different as far as how we connected the trailing arms in the back. The bushings are a little bit different. Things that we wanted to do a little different on this car. The steering box is a little different than the Model A. That one was up underneath the dash with the cowl steering, which looks cool. But we had to do a lot on that car to quiet it down and make it work the way that it needed to. Yep. So we did this one a little bit different. And then I don't know if it's where you sit within the wheelbase, but it's just that much better riding car than the Model A. The Model A is, and part of that I think is the ergonomics, like you're saying. The Model A looks cool, but you still have to crouch over to see the stoplights and that sort of thing. But we spend a lot of time on the seat frame construction and diameter of the steering wheel and grip size of the steering wheel and shifter location and all those things, pedal location, all that stuff makes such a difference, because And we probably talked about it before, but if you get one of those things wrong, it jumps out to you right away. If you get all those things right, you never think about it once.
Exactly.
And I told somebody that, like, the first thing, as soon as I backed the car out of the shop, pulled it around to the other side and brought it in, I said, we kind of moved the pedals, because when we were fabricating them, and Casey did the pedals in there, and they were great. But we went back and forth on, okay, where do they need to be located? And we didn't really know, okay, is there going to be, carpet padding here, and where's the kick panel going to land, and where's the parking brake, and all these things. And I just told he had them in a location. I said, we'll live with it there, and if we have to do something, we have to do something. And as soon as I got in it, I pulled it around the building. I'm like, nah, they got to move over.
Yeah.
And they moved over quite a bit. Well, we didn't have to change anything really, where they're mounted or any of that. It's just literally
the pedal arm.
Pedal pads.
Yeah.
But quite a bit was what, an inch, 2? Well, how much did
Yeah,
you
the
1/8 inch.
Yeah, it ain't like that.
no, it was
Goddamn
probably
30 thou.
probably. An
But
inch and
if you'd have hopped in there and your foot would have just landed naturally where it's supposed to be, like you
Yeah.
said, you never gave it a second thought.
Right.
You wouldn't have ever thought about the pedals.
Right, but when you get in there, there's not enough room for your left foot to sit against the toe board. Your right foot doesn't really rest against the transmission tunnel. There's no cruise control in that, so you want to be able to do that. So I moved the accelerator pedal over probably 1.5 inches, and probably 2.5 or 3 inches over on the brake pedal, because it was too far away from the accelerator. So just getting those a little bit closer together, a little further over, and then the height between the accelerator and the brake pedal made a difference as well, and what felt natural in there. And really, that was the only thing ergonomically that I needed to change. And even at 6'1" line of sight, we're right in the middle of the windshield on that, and a lot of that has to do with just doing a sprung seat frame and the ability to have the seat look a certain way when it's sitting there, but then when you're sitting in it, you drop down enough that your line of sight looks good.
A lot of that has to do with, too, just piece of advice for shops is the fabricator that's mocking that stuff up, his physical size and what type of footwear he wears. Because the guy that has like the size 8 shoe, right? It's like, this is great for me. Or the guy that has a size 11 but also wears like the miner's boots.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, this is great. I'm like, dude, tennis shoes and a 5'11" standard height man and a 10.5. Like,
Yep.
what is that?
I'm only concerned about it being a 6'1" man that's tall in the torso.
Or size
That's
4
it.
shoe.
That's all I'm gonna say.
As long as it fits you.
Yeah,
It's got a 4 shoe.
real small shoes.
That's one of those things I stress that so much. That's huge. Like ergonomics in a car, to me, it's makes or breaks it.
Yeah,
The car
absolutely.
could be great, and you get in, and all you're thinking about is like that everything's not right, and
Yeah.
you're looking at your feet, you're looking at the shifter, it's just not there. I mean, we went as far as I was telling you when we were driving. We printed out pedal guides for clutch, brake, and gas pedal spacing. The guys all thought I was nuts because when you're building a bunch of different style cars, and everybody, it's up to the fabricator to just like, this guy might be driving an old truck, or this guy, has got whatever they're driving, but
That's
nobody's
standardization.
Yeah, you got to have that. OEs spend so much time with this, but when you're getting to some performance where you're heel toe downshifting and stuff, it's like
Transferring brake to
yeah,
gas pedal
Yeah.
and not getting your foot stuck behind it. And
Yep.
That's cool that on a car that level, like it's like most guys do something like that, and they're like, hey, that shit goes out the window.
Yeah.
Well, and
Chrome all the pedals out, chrome them out.
Well, and smooth.
Yeah, make a
Foot
statement
goes off.
with them.
And if you think about it, I mean, it was a day worth of fab work and changing those things and pulling them out, and then we repowder coated and put them back together. It wasn't like some drawn out process to do it.
Yeah.
But it was the difference between being able to have your foot against the firewall in a comfortable position, or move it up, or have it jammed against the steering wheel all the time.
Yep.
And I mean, there's no question that. It's
And
the thing that had to
nobody
happen.
looking at that car at Pomona would have gave a shit where the pedals were at the
Right,
first
right.
time or whether the
Right.
second time.
Or if they even know you even moved them.
Right. But knowing the difference of that, like you said, doing that, and also understanding that, we're building, a badass car. We're building a very nice car. We're building a car to go for a award, but we want it to work. So getting in it and work, like you said, there's shops that'd be like, fucking stopped. It went and it stopped.
Right.
I could get my feet on it. Let's load it up. We've got to get to, do the thing. And that, there's no shot at that. It's just, it's time and differences, or going on road trips, sitting in passenger seat when the customer's driving, and he's like, man, foot like keeps hitting the column, and you're like, oh, can you move your foot like a different direction? Like, because it's obviously not your fault the first time. You're like,
Right.
"Oh,
What
when
kind
are you
of
hitting
shoes
that?"
you wearing?
Yeah,
Is your
and then
ankle
you're kind of
broke?
like, yeah, you
Here, I
know,
got some loafers you can borrow.
yeah. Now you got a good point. Next time, you think about that. You know,
Well, you guys know it is when you get a car right. You want. I mean, if you had these other customers interested in having you guys do a car and you brought them for one that you think's right, I mean, it's over, man.
Yeah.
It's instant. You'd love
Yeah.
to bring.
Yeah.
You'd love to bring guys that have had hot rods built that are nice, you know, and just give them guys a ride because it's something they're interested in. Just see what they think.
Yep.
That's where it'd be like, yeah, you know, you're like,
Done deal.
pretty cool,
Yeah.
you know. And I always said that about the chicane. I'm like, you give somebody a ride in that back in the day, and they just get out and hand you their wallet. You know, they're like, yeah, I got to have that.
how much
So-
of that do you think this change? You know, we've talked about getting out and driving, and we've talked about road tours. That's been discussed 100 times. But how much of this change over the last, call it 10 years, 12 years, is it strictly customer driven, that their taste or expectations are changed, or the shops that been around for a while, they're providing it, are tired of not doing it the way that some expectations are, or what that it could be, right? Or your shift is you've shifted your focus, or you've learned, you've gotten better.
Well, we've it's evolved obviously and getting better, but I think I did obviously the first power tour at Gray in 1990, so I've been doing it, driving junk that I built, and learning and all that. But it's amazing. Like there's a lot of guys spend a lot of money in this industry.
Yeah.
And you see some of these cars, and then you get your hands on them, and you're like, "Oof, man,
Yeah.
they don't know." Like I've got a couple guys that are around right now, and you're like, man, I give them a ride in a Chrysler or something, they would shit. Just kind of that's the car they have, and it's like, oof, and then if you give them a ride, and this thing's 15 years old, that's pretty bad.
Yeah.
It's just like they don't know what they're missing. I don't know what they expected when they went into it.
Yeah.
They've spent the money, and you
Yeah.
give them a ride in something that's equivalent to the money they spent or half the money they spent or whatever, and it works. It's like, oh no shit. I don't know. It's just there's a lot of, I don't want to say uneducated. They're not uneducated. I don't know what they expect, but it's like some of these guys aren't delivering. And
Exactly.
we were culprits of it obviously early on, but I don't know. It's just I think there's a lot of money getting spent. And they should be able to use them. If they want to tear them up, that's fine. You can fix them, and it's to each their own. But I don't know.
I think it's skill set or knowledge on how to build the car like that way that
I think
it's
it's
holding guys back.
I think knowledge a little bit. I think the one thing that could help most of these shops is having a real mechanic,
Yeah.
like a guy that was at Jim's Auto Repair over here for 25 years working on everyday shit. That's the guy you need to have him involved a little bit. Now they don't fabricate.
Not too much, though.
They don't fabricate.
You gotta be
well.
careful when you give that.
Yeah, they don't fabricate. So
A diagnostics
yeah,
guy.
yeah,
that's-
yeah. From like the function side of it, though, when it's done, hey, go drive this, see what you think a little bit, and just general brake stuff or turning radius. I mean, basic shit that's just gets missed like by a mile. And I don't think it's on purpose. I just don't think the guys are like, I was a mechanic, so I was more into making something work before it looked good. I had to learn how to make it look like something more so than I could make it work, but learning how to make it look like something or develop a style or get the right guys around you. But I think most of our industry, it seems like it's more they try to make it look good and it just doesn't pan out or work,
Right.
But
I guess the knowledge base of that and the time in it has a lot to do with it. Like, I'm looking back at our own stuff. 25, 30 years ago, 20, 25. Yeah, 25. That's a long time ago. But 25 years ago, the knowledge thing was always try to put that away. Nobody wanted to admit that I just wasn't good enough to make it do it.
Sure.
Right. So it was kind of like, hey, it looks fucking bitching.
yeah.
It won this award.
Usually have different
Like it got,
priorities then.
and it ran through. Hey, it didn't it didn't overheat and puke its guts in the award ceremony.
Sure, it did
It's a-
shortly thereafter.
It's but nobody saw it.
Man, we drove the shit out of that thing.
Yeah, and I
So
mean,
tired of hearing that.
it's
Fuck.
it's
Made it all the way through the fairgrounds.
I know.
man.
yeah,
Got back to the hotel. Fuck. Send it.
Right, exactly.
and that's it was like you put form over function as a mask for your being incapable of making it do the things, right?
Yeah.
Or there was always it's a big block. I mean, it's going to run hot, or it's this. Well, I mean, aftermarket brakes, it's manual brakes. They're not going to stop great. There's always a thing
Yeah.
that was like, well, but I think as shops continue to we all have ADHD, right? So it's like, well, that's cool. So, I mean, you're already thinking about the thing that you're doing next that's going to try to top that. Well, how do we make this part better? And if you start focusing on the function, right, then you're chasing the function just like you chase the form,
Yeah.
right? And what's the next? With your Tesla booster, right? That wasn't like guess what? This is carbon fiber and it's billet and it's
Right.
chrome and it's going to win shows, and I want to sell this crazy part. It's a thing that
It's OE.
works.
Yeah.
It's OE.
I think the biggest thing, finding out what the customer wants right away, right? You want something, go cross country, and you want something, hey, just 100 miles at a time, whatever. I think
What if they have no idea?
Yeah, yeah. And if they don't, then what they're going to get from us is you're going to be able to drive it wherever you want, and we're going to do that anyway. But I think that's a big thing. And, with social media and stuff today, the point you were talking about, guys not wanting to admit, or, a lot of these guys, they won't take help because it's like, oh, so-and-so and, his name's involved or whatever it might be, right? But even Steve Moles, where I learned about the torsion bar stuff when I did a Model A. Hey, Steve, what's the right way to do this, right? And gave me a 10-minute conversation, and that's what you get.
It saved you probably hundreds of hours.
Right, of guessing and working. Yeah, it's like, hell, I'll give him credit all day. I don't care.
What was the first car he did that on? Was it the green Miller nose?
Yeah, well, George's car was that way, and he'd done a lot
torsion
before
bars?
that,
Yeah.
probably almost everything.
Quite a bit before that, I think.
Probably almost
Really?
everything.
He did a Ferrari-powered car, probably 20 years ago that had torsion bars. He's been doing the tube chassis and torsion bar stuff for a long time.
But just calling these guys and asking them. Gary Schroeder helping us on the steering on the Model A. It's like, if you don't do the pitman arm look on this, you guys own a trailer. That's what he told Lawrence.
Really?
He goes, if you don't do it, if you're going to copy everybody else like they do, you better own a trailer. You're not going to drive it.
It works. It's just going to change lanes on you when you're not
He said
wanting to change lanes.
your fingers are sawed off from the bump steer.
Going back to your question, Josh, were you asking, as far as the direction that the industry is going, you're talking about the last 10 years or whatever, as far as what the expectation is of a customer and what their end use is? How do we see that changing? Is it from what the customer base and what that typical customer is now, or is it the shop that's pushing that,
Or is it both? Is it the shops have gotten better so the customers expect more, or did the customers start expecting more and you had to get better?
Right. Well, and you guys have talked about it plenty, and we've talked about it in the industry as far as what does everybody want? Everybody wants to drive their cars again, and that's great. But I was talking to Phil that the idea now is that there is a complete separation. So if a car is winning a big award of some sort, then that must mean that it can't do the other thing.
Yes.
That's the separation. It just can't do it, and because and a good example is probably the Belvedere that we built a number of years ago. Because when our customer first came to us, and you guys have worked for the same customer, great guy, and the car turned out great. But initially, he wanted a car that was almost restored, right, and then he wanted turbos on it, but he didn't want it to look like the turbos are on it. So they're remote. And then he wanted to
you want to run in the 9s and go 200.
Right, run in the 9s.
But look, stop.
Yeah, I don't want to lower it.
And so you have something that's supposed to do three different things, but you end up with something that doesn't do any of them well. Right. Or it takes a tremendous amount of time, effort, and money to do it. And that's what we ended up doing. And he has a car that that does those things. But typically the idea is that it can't do all those things well. I would say that it is both. Now, people are going on road tours and the amount of fun that's involved with that. And all of us know that with the show car stuff, yes, winning award might give validation to the shop to some level. If you're doing good work at any level, you're probably going to be busy these days. But when we're going to the shows, all of us would just rather talk to one another.
Yeah.
And how often do you guys know the owner of a particular car versus the builder of a particular car? It's actually pretty rare that I would know who owns it.
Very seldom.
And so when you're referring to something, it's the builder, because those are the people that we're hanging out with, and they're only people on earth that seemingly we that understand us.
Unless you're Josh Mischler, and then he knows the builder and the owner.
He knows the builder and the owner, and he's got 1,500 pictures
the
of that
three
particular
previous
car
owners,
before.
and then where the address. And,
Every once in a while, there's an owner who makes himself known. Right?
yeah, we all have those.
yeah.
We all have those owners.
Yeah, oh yeah.
But I think you're right. I think it's coming from both directions, because you have those customers that get involved in a road tour, whether they have a car or they just participate with somebody else, and they want something that's capable of doing that. Now, the industry kind of sees that, and most shops see it as, okay, we can build you a great driver, and this is what that level of finish is. And that's great, because the customer may want that. And I'm not saying that that's not a great car.
Yeah.
It functions incredibly well. It's a great looking car, but you're not making everything on it. And do you have to make everything on it? No, of course not. To make it function the way that the customer wants. But also the industry's probably pushing that as well, because you can do 4 or 5 cars in a year that are to that level, that function really well and do that. But then you have this other category where you have a car that's built to win a particular show, and seemingly it doesn't matter how much communication there is between a customer and a shop. Sometimes they aren't on the same page when they get there, whether
Right.
that's where they are in financially, where they are with the level of car, because I'm sure there's plenty of cars that were sold to a customer as, this is going to win this, and then it doesn't.
That's a
But
bad thing.
I think a big part of it is, regardless of where that's coming from, like the end use of it, you have to be on the same page. But we're probably of the same opinion that if you are going to build something to that level, at this point in time, it really should be functional as well. And it's a whole nother thing.
It's tough to go back after the fact. Like, even if the communication maybe isn't there, and it's not clearly communicated that, hey, I want to drive this, or maybe I just want to take it around the block.
Yeah.
It's easier to just do it and make sure that to go back when the car is finished,
You
and
can't
you've
not do
created
it.
something that's so over
You
the
can't
top.
go back and do it,
It
because
can't be done. It's you've created a piece of art, and it's like, now I got to make it like function.
And we've been guilty once.
Yeah.
But like Troy said, he's participated in those road tours from the very beginning, when they were first being organized within the industry. And so there's a lot that was learned from that, and you just automatically incorporate it into other things. There's obviously plenty of cars now that are contenders for major awards, and they look great, but they're not functional at all. And that's obviously a big part of, like Phil was asking, incorporating those things from the very beginning. And with a car like this, it has all the components that need to be there for it to be functional. And then we take those and, apply the aesthetic that belongs on this car. So the function is, they're on an equal level, but the function's still first.
Yeah.
Well, I follow you 100%, and I'm formulating like the next steps in my head as you're talking about through all this. So, great point you brought up on building a car to a certain level, for road tours, right? We've done it for years. Survivor Series cars, right? Mm-hmm. There's nobody starting out. We never started out building those cars with like, we're going to build a badass car, could win some awards. It's built purposely to enjoy, right? Survivor came from, we're going to buy Survivor cars. But we did.
But the car is just a catalyst, though.
The car, yes.
For the opportunity to do fun stuff.
To do fun stuff. And we did, I think, 11 or 12 of them for George, right? Great time with all of them. I mean, love George to death. It first started with like, I'm tired of these things snowballing. I'm tired of these shops going crazy, blah, blah. I want this car, and I want to drive it. Let's do this. We started doing chassis swap. And he was his own worst enemy, because then it started coming, well, if you could do that, let's do this, right? And then it became where, well, I want to also win some awards with him. I'm like, you know how it got. Well, let's make it shiny. Let's make it this. Let's make it that. I bring that up because we've done a lot of them. We still do them, and they're fucking awesome. They still have their place, and I think it's probably done more for shops and this industry. Not saying that we created, but that thought process where it became, I mean, George and some other customers allowing us to do it and allowing other shops to do it. You guys have done them. It had to become accepted by the mainstream, right? To be cool, right? So George had to do it. Some other shop, you had to be like, oh well, fuck. If he's doing it, then I can handle patina, or I can handle not perfect chrome. I can handle not perfect trim. Now nobody's gonna make fun of me, right? You have a newcomer as a customer, or even a shop that's like, well, man, what if Troy walks by this and thinks I painted it, right?
Right.
So then once it became a thing, it became a thing.
Everybody had to let down their guard from being judged by their peers.
Yeah.
Yes.
It wasn't so much about the
100%.
customer.
Yeah.
We just you didn't want somebody to be over there. What the fuck did the roadster shop? What's up with that door, dude?
Yeah.
That thing, it's,
Well, and just to
shit.
clarify,
Yeah.
which Troy's walking by that might be judging
Almost.
their.
Well, the most judgmental one.
He might be rolling.
Well, we don't
nobody
care what
was-
his opinion
Nobody
is.
really cares.
How screwed up is that anyway? Troy, that is a weird name. Anyway, there's three of us, Lad and
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Light down
Gudgel.
there, whatever the hell you
Gudgel.
call him.
Yeah.
Gudgel.
Yeah, Troy Light, but Troy Ladd's got a little more of that like artsy kind of
Yep.
like he.
Yeah.
I don't.
Right,
I don't put him in
I
the
think
same
Troy
category.
Ladd.
No, he's way above.
Troy Ladd, I like Troy Ladd, right?
Yeah,
but
Troy's cool.
he's a little. His Troy should be spelled Troye, right?
Sure.
It should be.
Well, there should be like an accent.
An accent mark. Well, but going back to what you're saying about the Survivor Series stuff, you had customers, or you guys are part of driving that, and George and that sort of thing. He doesn't want something that's going to snowball, but you say it evolves into, then he does want it to. Okay, let's do some paint on this one or whatever. But now you've already had that education of this is what it takes to make this a functional car where they can drive wherever they want. But you've also already done cars that are at the other end of that. And not that they didn't function well, but you've done cars that show well and look great and that sort of thing. So now you already have the education, from what you've done, and it's not really backtracking.
No.
It's adding on to it. But you guys have the opportunity because you already know what needs to happen, and so you're applying something aesthetically to it, to what's already functioning well.
I just think a lot of customers are coming to us for, that, and then like a badass pro touring, do all the things car. And it's easier. I say easier. It's more for us. It's easier, and for most customers, it's a natural progression of like, if we're going to do a pro touring Chevelle or Camaro, blah blah. Like, of course it's going to perform. Like, that's why I'm doing the things that I'm doing. Now, I went down that train of thought of thinking to take us to the next level of like, okay, that's great. We got the Survivors, and they fit in this box, right? They can go 4-wheel drive, they can go 2-wheel drive, they can go on. Then you've got like your pro touring muscle cars. Some perform well, some don't, right? Ours perform well. The customer already comes into it with that mentality. Now you've got, I wouldn't say just street rods, but you've got the show car, custom car, street rod, street truck, even in pro touring, you've got the show car genre. For lack of better terminology, I'm pigeonholing them into that people have, even shops that make them drive well, will build a show car.
Yeah.
Like you said, there's a car that you don't expect that car to do that. Now, you've created an entirely new category, right? You've gone and won that award, but it performs. There's been some cars that have done that, but as a whole, generally speaking, those two don't go hand in hand. You do this one or you do this one. Now, how's this reshape the landscape, and how do shops? Because let's face it, 100%. Let's face it, it is easier to build a car for a show to possibly win, regardless of the politics, if it doesn't have to be super functional. Making it functional makes it harder.
Doing both. makes it harder.
Doing both makes it harder, right? Because there's things that you could do, be like, well, fuck, if it doesn't have to have that, like, let's smooth that out, let's hide that. But if you have to make...
So I shouldn't weld the cylinder heads at a block?
No, you can. Well, as long as
Unless
they're
you
both
gotta wanna
aluminum.
get the fucking pistons out. Suppose you could pull them out the bottom.
Hey,
right?
it's the only way we can keep it from not leaking.
Right. I mean,
Get a motor from Mike.
But how much of that is sort of a result of what a particular award is looking for in the winner?
That's where I was going with it.
Yeah.
So it one...
You just ask that.
Yeah,
What
just
started
ask the
with
fucking
no?
question, dude.
What I'm saying is it makes it harder.
He's working up to it.
Yeah.
It makes it harder, so it increases the barrier, right? It increases the level of entry, right? So shops have to continue, which is great. Everybody needs to get better. But why? What's the benefit, right? If a show is not, I mean, because let's face it, like you said, 7 or 8 judges, all from different backgrounds, all different styles, all different levels of performance, right? We're not going to call out individual judges, but at the same time, we just talked about earlier, like if it made it through and didn't puke its guts on the thing, that's a win. That's still a win for people out there.
oh, yeah.
And then going cross country 3,000 miles, and then the customer's like, you know what? Fuck it. I was going to fly home, but I'm just going to drive it home, right? And driving it home, that's a win. That's a win that nobody knows about.
Yep.
So how do you quantify that in because we've talked about car shows and the politics side of it, the judging side of it, and what it drives everybody a lot on this. And they are why we all do what we're doing, right? And it continues to drive the industry. But what's the change? How are you going to, if you go to Amber or you go to Slonaker or you go to Riddler or you go to play, how are you going to say like, well, that's fucking awesome, but now we're going to interject, well, it needs to perform too? Or do you judge it for a certain way?
Well, what I'd like to do at some point, and maybe this would be the Poteet Award, whatever, is, and it's a bit of work, and I help Bobby with the Barrett Jackson thing, and they're always looking for the next angle because they want more participation and all that, whether it's more money or whatever. But I think at some point, I think it would be good to have a deal where you enter and you've got to go 200 miles. So that's the first step. Then the second step is too simple. Well, one thing, put it on a rack after that and see how bad it's killed itself.
Yep.
Right? You might have made it, right? But
See if its guts are coming out of
maybe
it.
it killed itself. Everything's rubbing, whatever, right? And then put it on a turntable. What's the turning radius? And then have like a stopping thing. Not 50 mile an hour. How does it stop? And then look at it as a show car. Then you're going to get the real car. I mean, it's a lot. That's a bunch of dicking around.
Yeah.
But if we want to have like this mega Mac Daddy, that's the baddest car award. That's the baddest car.
I think you need.
You got to have those.
You need all that. That stuff.
You got to have the.
But that
turning
award,
and the brake.
award has to be the thing.
That's the thing.
Because if it's not the thing, then you're like, well, fuck, that's a lot of shit. I'll just go over there and try to
most
win the
guys-
Amber, the Slonaker, or
most
whatever.
That'd separate a lot of men from the boys. They wouldn't even show up.
Yeah.
And the bottom line is there's always going to be a customer that wants to go for one of those other awards.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if it's MVR or whatever, Slonaker or Riddler or whatever.
Yeah.
But what's created an issue within the industry is that people are not on the same page. That a customer may very well say, I want to win this award. And you build a car that's capable of winning that award, whether it does or it doesn't. And then after that show, then they take it and want to go on a road tour.
Well,
Now, so
yeah.
you built it because maybe the parameters of winning that award are not conducive to a car that functions well.
This is when the shit hits the fan.
And that's when it hits the fan because you try to be on the same page and even you think that you are, but then afterwards it can't do that.
Right.
So from a builder side of it, can you win a certain award and make it functional at the same time to be competitive for that? And so maybe you have to be selective on the award that you want to do. If a customer says, hey, I want to go for this one in particular, you say, hey, well, afterwards, do you just want to park it? Because that may be all that you can do if you win that award. You have the trophy, but that's it. And then most of us would think that's a complete waste of time, but it happens.
How many customers go the other approach, though, that they have that much money in the car and they're then scared to death to drive it because it might do some damage?
Would you say that the Riddler is kind of sort of just that? Like, I don't know. I mean, shit, I can't think of many of those cars that have really
I can think of one.
driven any significant amount of miles.
I can think of one.
Ours hasn't.
Yeah.
But it's a fucking
Year
piece of
that,
art. It's gorgeous.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
shit doesn't need
JK
to.
Hot Rods.
JF one, the Riviera.
Oh yeah, I was thinking Jeff Kinsey.
Oh, with the
Yeah,
orange
he
four door.
didn't win that year.
He did not win. No. Now Jeff's was a drivable car, but he didn't win. JF won with the Riviera, and he
beat the
drove.
shit out of that
He
thing.
drove it and beat the shit out of it. I mean, he could have keep beating the shit out of it, but that's hey, that's the things we do, you know.
That's become just they've lost it over there. In my opinion, it's just overdone. It's just they got to change. My opinion.
I think a big part of it is the evolution of the industry and what people are expecting out of a car, whether it wins an award or not. Because have the parameters really changed all that much in this history of that award? Maybe not, but the expectation of what the car can do afterwards has.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think just communicating those expectations, I think, is important because there's certain cars like the First Love, right? That's
Yep.
fucking car is gorgeous.
Yep.
I don't give a shit if that car.
Yeah.
I mean, not that it matters what I think, but I don't care if that car drives down the road. It's like super fucking sexy. It's fun to look at. It's a piece of art. Kindig's Vet, I would classify just like that. Like, I think that car, like, you could say, oh, fucking car doesn't drive. It drives, but does it need to? Like, is that a car that needs to go run a fucking autocross?
Yeah.
Probably not. I think it's fucking gorgeous. I really like that car, and I could see that. That's a great park it in your living room, man. It's a piece of art. So,
But like you're saying, if you want to go for the Riddler, maybe it doesn't necessarily need to be functional if that's what you're saying.
Right.
So,
Right.
but if you want it to be, maybe you need to go for a different award.
yeah.
I think the Riddler thing, we've talked about this a lot of the shift and the change. I think the Riddler was the epitome of indoor car shows in ISCA for so long, right? And it was its thing, right? And ISCA and indoor car shows and the Riddler and all the different shows from, late 50s all the way up through the 70s was its own genre of automotive aftermarket. Pretty much separate from your traditional street rod and driving stuff. I mean, Street Rod Nationals, NSRA, when that was like at its heyday, that was driving cars to events, right? Two completely different things. Well, like mid 90s era, dates might be mid 90s, late 90s was when your traditional street rod, hot rod builders started really going heavy for the Riddler. So the Riddler was the thing for so long, right? But then it shifted without really anybody else knowing, right? The rug got pulled out from under a lot of your traditional, well-known hot rod, street rod builders that, I mean, let's face it, mid 2000s up through the late teens, like street rod building was the next big tire chopper thing, right? I mean, hell, you were fucking movie star on rides, everybody wanted a piece of custom car building, right? So then it kind of shifted, and everyone's like, well, fuck this. I built a really badass car, and it actually functioned, and it had style, what I'm used to. Like, that's my body work. I'm used to this. And now I don't know if you fault the Riddler, and it's just always been the same thing. Everybody kind of came in and played and had fun, and then it just kept on moving past. And it's an indoor show car association is different than an outdoor.
I think I could help clean this up.
Do it.
Because there's a lot of questions here, and we're going off on a lot of tangents. But
That's kind of the point.
The thing that the Riddler's just missing is style, right?
100%.
So why don't you
speaking to the mic?
Troy had
why don't you
100%.
bring in all the great automotive designers out there? There's so much talent. Why are those guys not involved? Because I can get behind the building something. I could care less if you drive it as chrome brake fucking rotors. Who cares? You're building something for that event. Make it look good. Make it absolutely fucking beautiful. Yeah. And then that's perfect.
I agree.
Fine.
But I think my point was, after learning all this, they didn't start it that way. Why are they going to change now? There was just a there was
Because
a brief
we're
there
talking
was
about there needs to be a change,
but they don't care.
That should apply with everything.
That
should apply with everything. You're building, you're modifying vehicles. They should look good. That's at the end of the day. That's to me is the single
Josh
most
is right.
important
They don't
thing.
care, but they're not. They can't even get a grade 8 anymore. I mean, I don't care what anybody says. They can get it, but if they're just. I mean, there's a grade 4. I mean,
Yeah.
that's it. My problem with them is, and I've participated in it, obviously, is like the way they look at it, right? So let's say you build the floor from scratch. It's all 3D sculpted, just trick, right?
Yep.
All hand built, and you texture it.
ooh.
Yeah, you fucked up.
So the guy with a stock Escort station wagon that's painted perfect is going to beat you.
Yeah.
Why is that right? Why is that right? There's way more better body. There's more body men out there than are metal craftsmen.
Yeah.
That's my look at it.
Yeah.
That's
Well, there's also, if you want to talk about level of difficulty, the level of difficulty to craft it, the level of difficulty to mask it off in a creative way for the texture, to apply the matte and the
and you're still showing all
metallic
the
fin-
shape in the floor.
Yeah, 100%.
So that's my point, right? That's as simple as it can be, because like so a stock Escort station wagon that's painted perfect underneath's better than a hand built that's done right or whatever. The floor, we'll say, we'll just pick on that, and it's
No, you're
lightly
picking on the
textured.
Escort.
Yeah,
picking on the
I love
Escort.
Escort station wagons.
Sounds like a badass. That's Troy's talking about.
But I always
Troy
said
had a
that.
bad
I'm like,
experience in the back of an Escort wagon.
yeah, well, the Boy Scout camp getting raped all summer in Wisconsin Dells, but I always said you could take an Escort station wagon and like just make it just like
Win on
body,
points.
buff that some
Number
bitch
of
up
mods.
underneath. Don't even change the floor, just buff it all up, and then that's an angle. But I don't know. That was just an argument all the time on that, because it's like why. So you're telling me a body man is more important than this metal fabricator? There's way more body men than are metal fabricators. If you want, not that matters, but I don't know. It's harder to do
My
hand built floor, and you're still showing a detail, but you lightly texture it versus bodywork in a stock floor.
my opinion
Yeah.
after, I mean, we've talked about this a lot, and I've been doing a lot of like digging and reading my opinion is the Riddler has never changed. The Riddler is judged on the same criteria since it started. And there was a time, brief period of time, mid-90s, all the way up into the late 20-teens, right? That the traditional, what we all consider as friends and builders and stuff like that, came in and built and won a lot for those. Were able to do it, and quite frankly, probably higher skilled craftsmen than what they had seen prior to that, right? And checked those boxes. Same points, same thing, same all stuff. But then there's other people that came in that just played the game, right? Doesn't matter about style.
Sure.
There was cars that won because they checked the boxes regardless if they had style or not. There was cars that won that had style that still won, but they didn't win because they had style.
I think turbocharged lanterns are cool.
Yeah.
I mean, right? I mean, you're right. It hasn't changed, but they're struggling. I mean, honestly,
100% struggling because
So, it's
the
time to make a decision, I think.
I agree. If a customer came into
Put the
you,
shocks there instead.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
That's pretty cool, actually.
it's we're making all the friends.
That's not exactly like a theme of this podcast.
No, it's not. If a customer came in tomorrow and said, "I want to go for Riddler,"
No.
I already want it.
just it's a flat out no.
It's not a flat out
I would,
no.
I would personally, being honest, I'd say the Slonaker is a much bigger award.
That's
And I love Detroit. I went there for shit. I mean,
yeah.
And
90
why
90
why is that now though?
from 1990 till, up until 3 years ago, I had a booth there all the time, and I went every year, and I enjoyed it. And now, it's kind of shifted, and the Slonaker's ARP got behind it out there, and it's gained some traction. We won the Slonaker 3 or 4 times just as it's the best car on the property other than the Roadster.
Before it was a
before it was anything. Like
Yeah.
the Model A won it the year before. That made a big deal out of it. But it just, I don't know. It just seems like, like I said, you can always go back to like what you're saying. I mean, the Riddler is a like a lot of the winners here are like some 80s ISCA car, right? Whatever. And then out there is more what Craftsman and more what we're doing, and it is judged by our peers, you know. They've got a diverse group, you know, that's much more diverse than the Amber judging.
Does that group change every year?
No, they've stayed pretty solid
Pretty well
with
the
it.
same since
they had a
ARP's
few,
been
like I think Ladd helped this year, and you got Strope and Sullivan and Brown. It's more diverse than the Amber thing, you know, with Bobby and, you know, Vogley and Brennan and Larry Erickson. You know, you got some serious dudes there.
I mean, there's a lot to be said for that. Obviously, being
Yeah.
judged by your peers, and they're looking at things differently than they are at
Yeah.
the Riddler. It's not necessarily on a point system. Yeah, there's going to be, you know, matters of opinion that come there, but it's, you know, a lot of it is people that have experience in the industry and know what they're looking at.
They should have good opinions.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
they
Larry,
got to be able to tell you,
right?
hey, man, this is why you didn't win. And you know,
they have a
you
designer.
know, everybody wants to hear that, but you're like, okay, I mean, he has done some stuff, so it's like,
Yep.
all right, you know.
and they have a designer on both sides,
Yeah.
on
Okay,
AMBR
that's
and the other side.
And I think that's, you know, I mean, you could pick, you know, like last year just for Stonecker. I mean, there's 10 cars pretty solid in there, you know, a lot of different styles and all that because it's kind of wide open. But in they're just, it's kind of like a shift in that way. And it's kind of, I mean, and I'm glad for them, but in the same thing, I'm kind of sad for that because I went to Detroit for 30 years, you know, and it's just like, it's time to adjust.
Well,
my opinion.
yeah.
You know, I'm not a show promoter. I mean,
I guess
they make more money than I do, but it's time to adjust.
But I'd agree with Josh. I don't know that the parameters have really changed for
It hasn't.
Riddler over the years, but the way the cars are built to fit exactly what they're looking for at that show is not always conducive to being something that looks good in the end.
Right.
So
Well, that's
and to Jeremy's point, maybe there does need to be an influence from a designer that, you know, somebody that has experience with that. So maybe it does hit all these points, but which one also has some style too. I mean, if believe it or not, at Pebble Beach, you know, there's a couple of things that really set one car above another because they're on a point system as well. If you participate in a tour before the event starts,
Yes.
you get a ribbon. And if there's a tie between the two on points, then that car wins because it did the thing, right? But also, if you have two cars that are built the same year and, you know, one of them's some real elegant French, you know, car,
right.
and the other's not, they might both be hand built, but the elegant car, the one that has style, is going to win.
Right.
And I don't know what they do if one has style and the other has a ribbon. Just a tie, I guess.
Probably never been.
Nobody.
happened.
They just pick the third one.
Smash them into each other.
Fucking demo derby.
They picked the twin turbo 32 Roadster.
Well, they do. I mean, you know.
But I like but what you were saying is they are struggling, right, with the quality that's there, right? I think we're all saying the same thing. I don't think they have changed, right?
No, they haven't.
But
The industry
should they?
has.
But should they?
Yeah.
Right at this point in time. But at the same, like you talking about show promoter, I know of the guys, but I don't know them, right?
I'm guessing
Is-
their gate fee doesn't change regardless of if Troy brings a car or not.
Exactly,
No.
Phil.
No offense.
No.
It's
No, doesn't.
so. There's so many different nuances to this.
Fucking
this,
bad Chad shows up for an autograph signing though.
dude.
They're probably-
It's
You know who Bad Chad is.
I'm not saying anything bad, dude. That was pro bad Chad.
I'm
He's
telling
Troy's
you.
per
Listen,
bad chat.
so
I'm telling you right now.
Hey, when he chopped that Lincoln live a couple of years ago, Troy's never showed me more stuff on his phone.
I know.
Really?
Ever.
Jeremy,
think
He was
built that
watching. He
body.
watched the whole thing live and came over and showed me
Yeah.
things
You-
every 10 minutes.
you
And
think-
thought I had? Told me I had.
you
things
think
to
you
learn.
spent time in the hospital with your accident?
Stop it.
I'm telling you
why
right
are you trying
now,
to stoke the fire?
because Jeremy Gerber one day, and I hope
I said one thing, and
I hope I'm there for it. I've talked less about Florida Georgia Line than you have Bad Chad.
oh, stop it.
Ellie
One
can
time.
pull up the stuff.
Yeah, if he'll pull up the one comment.
You've mentioned him every other podcast.
No, he might have a shout out every other podcast, but not bad Chad.
Yeah.
So I actually,
He's got his thing going on.
yeah, and this is this is how I see that, right? I seen him he was kind of sitting by the 36 at AMBR. Then I went up to him and I'm like, hey, get a picture in front of 36. And I don't know if he knew I was or not, and whatever. And I took a picture with him.
That's fun.
And I just said, hey, I go, I appreciate you. What because the one thing he does do is he's like, hey, this is how I do it. It may not be the right way or the wrong way.
He's doing car
This is
stuff.
just how I do it. And I just said, I respect that.
Yep.
Right? Because it's, he's not saying, hey, if you don't do it this way, you suck.
Yeah.
Right.
And regardless if you like the stuff he's doing or not, at least that disclaimer that he gives, and it's honest. So I'm like, that's what I told him. I just kind of, I took a picture with him, and like I said, I don't know if he knew I was or not, but it was. Then he posted something that it made him feel good that I said that, and I meant it. Obviously,
Yep.
It wasn't a joke, because it's like it is what it is.
He's at least in the car world
Yeah.
and
No,
doing stuff
yeah.
and
I will
inspiring
say
other
that.
people to
What
get
do you-
That's-
but that's that because he says that, it's everybody's got their own way, and
Right.
we don't agree with certain things or whatever, but that's, I think, because some of these guys be like, well, if you don't do it this way,
No, we don't
What
have
about,
egos in this
yeah.
industry.
No, it is. Like I said, one fucking smart ass thing
Or
way
7.
back when. Dude, it was one thing. But to your point, exactly what you said. Like he's honest about what he's
Yeah.
doing.
Yep.
Like he's getting it done.
Yeah.
Grassroots,
Oh yeah.
bare
Fast.
bones,
Yep. A lot of stuff. Yep.
and fucking knocking it out. Which honestly, like some guys could learn from that. Like there's a certain element of that. Like
Well-
that's kind of sort of how. Like I like to mix a little bit of that into what I do.
Sure.
To be a little fucking like cowboy and get the fucking job done.
Right.
Rather than living with it.
We call it
forever.
two things: either petting it or analysis paralysis. Right.
Yeah.
Petting it. Yeah.
Right. Quit petting that son of a bitch and get after it. Or, but analysis paralysis. How many guys are like that? They can't. They get paralyzed by analyzing. They can't do. It's just they can't never get it
Yeah.
done, or it takes forever. I mean, that's a lot.
Yeah.
What do you think about Florida Georgia line though?
I don't really know a lot about.
I think they broke up.
line
didn't
dance
they?
and shit.
They,
Yeah,
they
so
did.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
Heard they
Troy
getting
was
back
sad
together.
about it.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. We came close. We started making
It was closer than I wanted it to be.
Yeah.
It was real. It was
We started making connections of people who knew them, and it was getting close to the point where we could have put together a grudge match.
Yeah.
It was
He's
way closer than I
walking
wanted.
it back.
Yeah, I was.
He started
Bare
looking
knuckle
up.
fight?
Well, he
Yeah.
started looking up the dude. The one guy's he's no
Yeah.
fucking
I don't-
slouch.
I don't
mean,
know.
He's
Yeah.
a decent sized dude.
There's one dude that's into cool shit and kind of a little bit bigger than I wanted it to be.
Yeah.
I gave him a pass. The other one, I'll wipe
How,
the fucking floor with him. That's a fucking little sissy.
How big?
Start at 7 degrees of Florida Georgia line. See if we can get there.
Yeah.
So you took. I mean,
It's only going to take 4.
you took some pictures. Of how big of a guy is Bad Chad?
He's
a pretty
little.
big guy? Is he?
No,
Oh,
no, he's
okay.
probably.
He's in the same weight class.
Oh, it'd be fair
Okay.
fight then.
All right.
Be fair
Fuck
fight.
them.
No, he's like, probably 5'7", 5'8", I'm guessing. Yeah.
The
Scrappy? Like,
Well,
He
you know,
looks scrappy. He looks
Yeah.
dangerous.
Yeah.
He's a
Canadian,
Canadian, man,
yeah.
right? Oh, there, don't you know there
He's
is?
I
a
like,
sucker
do like the
punch
way,
you.
I do like the way he talks.
But I'm a damn French Canadian for Christ's sakes. But
Are you really? Is that where that's your background?
Trepanier.
Quebec.
Ah, Quebec.
Trepanier's a standard name up there, like Smith or something. You
Is
know?
it really?
Yeah.
Not a
It's fucking
chance.
Jean-Claude Van Damme. He's
I'll bend right in half right here as soon as my knee heals up.
You could do the splits with your
I
legs
have
straight.
more moves than a rubber man from India.
JCVD would have landed that paintball ball.
Yeah, I'm right. Oh, I landed it here. Let me pick my wrist up.
So where does we've talked about opposite ends of the spectrum. We've talked about Detroit, Riddler.
We've solved nothing.
Well, yeah, but
We're
we
starting the
don't.
conversation.
I think we
that-
created,
that's
we
not,
created
Why
that's not
start
the job here
problems.
either.
Why start solving it now? Right?
Right.
We haven't.
No,
we
for
haven't
sure.
solved anything
For sure.
yet.
One thing that I think that touch on that rubs, I guess, at our shop, me and Adam, the wrong way a lot, and I think you guys will probably agree, is people talking about money.
Yeah.
Because, everybody's like, oh, that costs
That's a
this. or-
$100,000 bill.
Right, yeah, that costs this or this costs that and everything else.
It's at
And
both
like-
ends of the spectrum.
Yeah,
though.
at both ends. And it's like, there's all these ideas, like, let's just say what the 36 cost. But I'm like, oh, it costs what it costs, and it's actually a good bang for the buck, and it's expensive. These things all take longer than they should and cost too much. But everybody has these numbers in their head and they get thrown around and all that.
Especially at a debut of a show.
Yeah.
That number can run.
And it's like, we've had guys come up that are now customers saying, well, we were going to come here, but it's like, God, man, they said, get your wallet. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And they'd say something, well, they said this costs that. I'm like, who?
I wish.
It was, I go, listen, I wouldn't have a busted ass knee and my wrist wouldn't be broke because I wouldn't be cleaning up. I wouldn't be moving my own paint booth if it cost that. And then the next thing is, you can, if you give another shop $10 million, could they build what you guys build, or could they build that 36?
That's the best fucking point.
They can't.
Dude, that's the best point
right? They can't. And I'm not being cocky. They just, it's just, it takes time and equipment and all that stuff. So it's like, I guess that's the internet, and that's just it is what it's going to be, but that's that little chatter crap, that drives us crazy.
It's expensive.
Yeah.
But that's the reality of it. It's that, dude, if somebody's going to throw that kind of money at just Joe Schmo or some random shop, it's not the fucking money.
No.
The money just facilitates getting the job done.
Yeah.
But you have to be able to, you have to be at that skill level to do it. It's not just the money didn't build the car.
Yep.
I mean, you could give somebody fucking $15 million
right.
to do that car.
Yep.
A shop that's built lots of things and they couldn't do that.
No, right. And then the ones that are smart, it's like, it's not really our deal. Maybe you should go see, Rad Rides or Steve Moll or somebody, right?
Yeah.
And
you gotta stay in your lane.
Yeah, before you've had your ass kicked doing it, you're like, oh no, I can do that. We've all done that.
Yeah.
Overloaded our ass, but I don't know. That's the thing that bugs me a little bit. More than anything.
when it comes back, I mean, we have lots of repeat customers and great work and enough work for foreseeable future or whatever. But when you have a customer that comes to you and said, oh, I was going to have you do this or do that, but they said that this car costs that much, just like he's saying, you're like, well, it cost a fraction of that, and they just spent 3 times as much on another car somewhere else.
Yeah,
and you're like, oh, well, okay, we're there's value to what we're doing and experience and the shop rate and all these things that make it possible for us to do something like the 36 or lots of other cars that we do. And so when those numbers are thrown around, you're never going to stop it. I'm just saying, I feel like sometimes it's used by other people to justify something that they're doing. And then it reflects bad on us. It's not, if they were saying, oh, well.
Of course your windows won't roll up. Yeah. Because you only paid me $250,000 for the car. Troy's charging $7 million.
Right.
I'm sure his windows roll up.
Yeah.
They didn't even put windows in that roadster.
Yeah, no. And that's,
right.
Yeah, you gotta know. But that's know when to say when.
Yeah, Phil, we realize we can't do windows, so we just don't.
That's the shit that
Know your
don't work.
lane.
Know your limitations. Yeah,
Leave the fenders off. You never get the gaps right.
How many windows did you run through an English wheel before you realized you can't change that shape?
So many windows.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack there, but number one, I think the biggest thing is to stay in your fucking lane there.
Yeah.
And we've had guys, we sat, I won't go into like the details, but we sat in the same room here, met with a customer who wanted to build a Riddler car and ended up building a Riddler car with a different shop. And we're like, dude, that's not like, you should do this and do like, I was saying the same things you were like, well, we bedline the floor, right? Yeah. And I'd rather build you something that you can get in and drive. And I didn't tell him what he wanted to hear.
Yep.
I told him the truth about what we can do. Yep. And ultimately he went to the right shop to do what he wanted, but it wasn't for us.
Yeah,
We weren't the shop to do that.
Yeah.
So you definitely got to stay in your lane with that shit.
But how do you, on the price point thing, like you said, it's never going to stop, but how do you respect your customers' privacy, right? What they spent, but also like, you're not going to quote the next job, but you also kind of want to be like, how do you get, this car, this 36 has got a window sticker. It ranges from this to this, anywhere in between that. Like, how do you get to the point of
that is a tough thing. I mean, I talked about it last time I was here when people say, oh, well, that car costs $3 million or $4 million. Well, I hope it looks like it costs that much, but are you saying that because it looks like it costs that much, or because you're justifying it based on your own shop rate, or what is it? But that's where we come back to, is you trying to respect the customer, and the bottom line is we're not trying to be like oh, well, we're just not going to tell anybody. I don't know. the customer knows what
Yeah.
they spent on it, and
Yeah.
and maybe Angie does.
Yep, that's it.
But the bottom line is, I can tell you, how much time I personally have in it, and you can kind of
you can do the math.
figure it out or whatever. But all I can tell you is, we've had enough cars come through the shop, that have been built in the industry in the last 20 years, that unfortunately we've seen how the sausage is made.
Yep.
And I mean, cars that are iconic, cars that have won major awards and that sort of thing, and you dig into them, and sometimes it's even somebody that talks bad about what you're doing. But what do you do about it?
Yep.
And,
Blow it up online and talk about it.
But we don't, because honestly, we've
You air it on the oil and whiskey podcast. Pull it up, Josh.
and that's what I'm here to do.
I think Josh is fucking sleeping over here. That was a prime opportunity.
The fact is, we've all built different things at different points in our careers, and those cars go to other places, and they see what was done at that particular time, and you hope that you get better over time, but the bottom line is, you get a little bit disenchanted with the things that are considered as like extraordinary within the industry, and know that those cost so much money and all this stuff. And so I don't know, maybe I shouldn't, but I just get numb to it. I'll never ask somebody, like, how much did somebody pay for something like that, or when you're talking about
how much do you make a year, real quick?
right. Believe me, I get asked that. I get asked that a lot, and I don't know if
I was
that's
just saying in general, like, you don't throw that
know.
out there.
Yeah.
What's your house cost?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah. But and
Checked your 401k lately? What's that thing looking like?
Yeah. and I'll answer somebody if they ask me how much time I have in that. I don't have a problem telling them I have the better part of a few years in that full time. But
the only ones that I actually am curious about those numbers are when you see because there's some production type cars out there. And we do chassis for a lot of really good companies that build production cars, and the stuff, I mean, like, bang for the buck is fantastic. But we've had a handful of cars come through over the years to service, and it's like, I'm looking at the production type cars, and it's like the inner fenders are bedlined, and there's a tag riveted on, and you're like, what did you pay for this?
Yeah.
Right.
What's this? And sometimes you can Google it, and it's posted, and you're like,
The Cobra shit is what's crazy.
oh, my
Price-wise.
God.
Yeah, and the quality but it was, I mean, yeah. We could go down a big rabbit hole.
Yeah, it's just
Back on the 36. I'm going to ask you both individually. What's the hardest thing you did on that car?
go ahead. What's the hardest thing you did?
Fucking shift linkage.
Really?
Yeah.
really. It's
Like the only thing that we, like the one thing we didn't like finish out 100%. It
What's
just
the
kicked my
transit?
ass. Just a
TKX?
4R70W
Oh,
Ford. And just, it wasn't a big deal, you know, just that we didn't, that's like the one thing we didn't
That you
like
didn't plan
do
for.
100%. And we left room, but it's like, I don't know, it just kicked my butt at the end. I mean, it's stupid, but,
Yeah.
and I do all of them pretty much, but I don't know, I spent like 2 days just dicking around with that thing and getting,
to make it right or make it look good? Or both?
no, make it right, yeah.
Did you end
Yeah.
up? Was that fucker like bell cranked and like?
Oh, no, it's just
No,
threaded
it's not,
rod.
it's not that
It's
great.
threaded rod, but I mudded the threaded rod, so it looks like I fucking tube.
Unistrut,
Hey, there ain't
all
nothing
thread,
holds
all
mud
the
better
tricks.
than threaded rod.
he's got
And it bends
it's
nice.
A
you
that's
know?
a mechanical adhesion.
Yes. But it just fucking,
That's the biggest secret.
it plowed me.
Dude, be careful. There's gonna be some dude you're gonna
Yes.
see on Instagram fucking mudding some threaded rod.
But you know, just I mean,
You got to use
the
panel
intents
bond. It can't be like
Got to
traditional.
feel right.
And if you
everything,
bake it,
just,
it'll be
God
fine.
Damn,
Yeah.
it just kicked my
And
butt.
where you don't have to two-hand it, right?
Yeah, right. Oh yeah, a lot of leverage.
Yeah.
We take the rooster comb out of the trans. It's just so bound up and shit. But no, it was just I don't know. It's just a bastard for some stupid reason.
Body on or body off?
Body on. Yeah, all done. You know,
Final
it's like,
assembly.
and we
We
left
had-
room for it. I mean,
Yeah, we had clearance
but
for
God
it,
damn,
but-
I did the math wrong the first time for some reason. I'm like, okay, that ain't gonna work. And just kept going. But I don't know. Just I was so tired of laying underneath that. I had rug carpet burns on my back. But anyway, that's the only thing, honestly, because we done such a good job of pre-assembling everything and building
just the
everything,
one
making
thing.
it fit. It was just, I mean, because I assembled, he was doing the upholstery. I assembled probably 80% of it, and it was just easy.
Yeah.
I mean, like really easy. And then that thing was just like murdered me. How about you?
It took the same amount of time for that threaded rod to form it as assembling all the rest of the chassis.
It did.
Yeah.
I mean, it was brutal.
And then you jumped off that ladder.
I did. I'm like, I'm going right to
done.
the paint
Fuck
booth.
this.
I'm done.
Listen,
No more
Troy,
shift linkage.
Now my
Get
new-
down from the top of the paper.
my new saying if I watch them,
Got
it
a cookie?
frustrates me.
Yeah,
Is like,
cookie.
I'm just going to shatter my right kneecap. It's killing me.
I don't know necessarily the hardest individual thing. I mention pretty often if somebody asks me on like any of the cars that projected things in the future, because when I'm fabricating something, I'm thinking about body and paint or upholstery or final assembly or all those things, and so you're putting things in on the fabrication stage that you're not going to sometimes for a year.
Yeah.
That you're not going to use. And so trying to project some of those things, whether it's a channel for running wire in that's in the rocker, or having enough of a step off of the door for the door panel to sit in so it's not sitting proud, or just having the width of the inner door skin being right for using clips on it, or whatever it is. There's a lot of forethought that has to happen way beyond when it's actually used, and not that you don't have some things later on, but a lot of that just comes with understanding those other processes and knowing what needs to be in place later. And each car you get better at that. So when you're talking earlier about well, the next one's going to be better. Well, we never do two cars that are really similar, one after another. So we don't have to top that one, thank God. But but there's always almost everything that I'm doing on it, I'm like, well, if I do this, I'm going to do this differently on the next one, whether that makes it more efficient or it makes it stronger, whatever it is. But I would say that's probably the most difficult thing to me on this project or any other. If you're talking about any,
God, that was the worst answer I've ever fucking heard. There's
Yeah.
give me something you struggled with that you didn't like.
working with Troy. I mean, I don't know. Working with Troy. That's the hardest part. That's the hardest part of the whole thing is working with him.
I mean, shaping the body just comes naturally.
Non-PC answer.
I made the
that's
body
it.
from fucking nothing. It's like I didn't really even make a buck. It just like the panels are easy. Yeah, I
That
fucking
part's
upholstered
hard.
the whole car. Piece
Top
of
easy,
cake.
made out of
piece of
aluminum,
cake.
did a boat headliner inside, right direct metal on the outside.
No big deal.
Piece of cake.
There had to be something that along whatever point in time you had it mapped out in your head, because you're a very analytical guy. You're like you said, you're seeing 5 steps. That's what makes a good car. There's sheet metal builders, there's transmission builders, there's engine builders, and there's car builders, right? You got to see all the things. There had to be something along the way that you're like, man, I'm glad that's over, or that I struggled with that more than I thought I was going to.
Okay,
I'm not saying you're weak. No, everybody knows you're not weak.
Sure. Well, I'll tell Troy at the end of any one of those things that we don't need to do this again. Like, I never needed to learn about that, and I don't need to do it again on something else. I would say the top and the biggest part of the top that was a
Top's
pain.
the best top that's ever been built on a car.
Is-
So you're screwed on that because you're building another one. That's awesome.
Well, the structure on the backside is like all these different pieces, and so they're formed so that it fits against the skin of the body, but the structure of the top has these pins that sit down inside a stainless socket, and then those pins have a grommet on them, a rubber grommet. So when the top is sitting on it, the pins go into the sockets that are on the body.
You have any of this on your Instagram?
Yeah, it would be further like newer posts than
Hey, look at
those,
Rob
further
McGaffin laying on the ground down there.
Here?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, so you see how it's got like a C channel to it. So that was a C channel that I bought, but you have to form it to fit around there, and then below the C channel there's another piece that's actually fabricated that's welded to it, and there's pins that are riveted like inside that C channel. So all those things in between
here?
Yeah, and so there's 4 pins. There's one just like like 4 inches back from that door opening, and then there's 2 more on the back side. So the sockets that sit down in the body are stainless, and then the rubber grommet that sits on the pin sits on that on the stainless socket.
Okay.
So the whole top just sits on rubber bushings that sit on top of those stainless sockets, so nothing touches the paint.
Yeah.
But in forming that, it's just like constantly, it seems, it's like 3 pieces and you form them separately to fit there. But then when you weld it, every time you touch the torch to it,
It's touching a body in a different section.
It doesn't fit anymore. So you weld it, you stitch weld it across or whatever, you weld the edge, and then you come back and then you spend, an hour and a half shaping it again to fit the body, and then you weld the other piece on there. If I just welded all the pieces together, I just throw in the dumpster and start over, make one out of fiberglass again.
So building a top from scratch is mildly annoying for Adam Banks.
I can see how that could be challenging.
That's why we don't
Actually,
do it.
the rear main was a close second too, because we O-ring the entire motor. It's got laminar head gasket, and then the rest is completely O-ringed, and other than the rear main. And so we're guys going to run the
2-piece.
It's a standard Ford Y block thing.
Oh.
Good idea. Like you put these rubber inside and you drive these nails into it.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. That was a good idea. But anyway, so we were gonna run the engine and stand. I'm like, whatever, not necessarily. So I smoked it. We got a smoke machine, so I smoked it, and the damn thing's just the machine shop that we use. They'd put the rear crank shit in, and it was leaking a little bit. So I'm like, better check this out. So I took the pan off and I replaced it and put the wrong seal in it, not knowing, because I looked and like, they're all this number or whatever. So, put it in there, put it in the car. It's leaking like a sieve, on, off, about 4 times. But once I put the right rear main in it and drove them nails in and bent them over.
Yep.
Yeah, they got it. But yeah. But anyway,
It peeled the lip right off.
However, but like I was telling you, got to be able to work on this stuff. So by having the oil pan all counterboard and O-ringed, I mean, I had it off 4 or 5 times, never touched a thing up, nothing. On, off, on, off. You're not cleaning gaskets, you're not cleaning silicone.
Yeah.
Short of just a little smear maybe around the back rubber there. But I mean, that's why you got to make work on it. Years ago, it would have been like, you'd repaint the pan every time and, scraping gas blocks all jacked to shit.
Smooth that.
Yeah, it looks like it's got
paint the whole thing
100,000
again.
on it. Yeah, so that's the differences. But it's
What was the most enjoyable thing that you did on the car?
let's see.
That's a fucking car. It's a hot. I don't think
Finishing it.
Yeah, I don't think I could tell you that's the most enjoyable thing I've ever done on one.
Well, there's always those moments, whether it be throwing the wheels on it, sitting it down the first time. There's always a thing. There's like, once I saw the top on it, once I saw the interior, there's always a
Honestly,
thing.
I said putting it on the ground because it was on, it was up on those the blocks the whole time, and it's like it was all together. By the time we actually lowered it down the first time, it's like, man, it just gets tiny.
That's,
You're in its face the whole time. Then you sit down, it's like, man, it just gets small, and then actually getting away from it for the first time to actually get a side profile on it, which we didn't really get a whole lot in the shop, but when you walked up to it on the display, and you could really get away from it, the proportions, look good on it and stuff. So
that's what was wild today. Like, we obviously we talked about it in bare metal. We've seen all the pictures. Me and Jeremy walked. You walked us through at Grand National. Got to see it. Couldn't see it really great because there's a crowd of fucking people, but you get to see all the things. Saw it today. We're standing. We're walking. We're looking at it for an hour and a half, and then you got in it to take off, right? And y'all were in the taking for a drive, and me and Phil and Troy standing there. That was the first time, like from a decent distance as it pulls out. It's a rare moment. I'm not just saying that, but it was like, holy fuck, that thing's awesome. Like seeing it from a distance, especially a hot rod that moving has that, but it sits like flows and moves and like that proportion stance.
It's not static anymore.
Yeah, and you like
Well,
it was a hit.
That in my opinion, that's exactly what should supersede everything.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like all the details, all the judging, like what level you sand and buff the jams. If that thing sucked going down, if it looked like shit going down the road, who cares?
Got to sand and buff the jams. All right.
Yeah, I know you've told me that a bunch, but if
have
the
to.
car looked like shit, if it didn't look cool going down the road,
Well, that's
why waste the time sanding and buffing the jams?
That's a good point. That's where Amber, they make you drive it in with the backdrop in the back to see how the driver sits in it and how does a car look before you put it on some crazy display. And that's a good point. And I heard a great saying the other day watching F1. It was 2 races ago, and Max passed in that first corner. I don't know if any of you guys watched or not, but I mean, it's outside, late braking, and the one guy, I forget his name, that was announcing that was an F1 racer. I mean, just couldn't shut up about it. I mean, the guy was just like, he just couldn't believe what he'd just seen. And he finally broke it down, and he'd raced and seen thousands of races and broadcasted them, and he's like, it's like I seen it for the first time. I mean, it was an awesome saying. Like, he goes, it was like seeing something for the first time. It's like you said, when he's pulling away, and it's like, when you see a lot of cars pull away, it's pretty cool, but once in a while you're like, man, that was really something.
Yeah.
And that was an awesome saying.
It wasn't expected either. Me and you were both there, and it's like, we both turned like, oh fuck, it just hits you,
I got the same thing seeing the Grand National go down the road for the first time. You're like, that just looks cool. It looks fake. It looks like a toy almost.
Yeah, right.
Like the proportions shouldn't work that's driving, and it was. Like when we interviewed Tom Peters, he had that comment, like the most important tool in the GM design library was, they call it the courtyard or the patio.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Pulling
Where
the
they
car
just
in.
push a car outside and you can step back and everybody just look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and get the reaction of other people, and
There's a lot of people that built cars in real small shops and kept them on jack stands. Like,
Based on what they look like in the end.
we've all been to shows.
What a
we know.
box. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
and then do you think that during
Like
that,
who?
What I mean, I'm not. There's no particular example. I'm just. It's just a
Right.
smart ass.
But who?
You think of at that point when that car rolls
I mean, if you
out,
had to break it down to like the top, the five that are the most
all right,
memorable.
so here we go.
Okay.
But do you think
Start
that
at
point,
5.
Is anybody like, fuck, like,
Yeah. Ooh.
it's cool, like, or do you,
Color's great.
yeah? Do you really
Yeah.
like? It's fast. It's loud.
Loud.
Yeah.
It's absolutely amazing car. It did everything that you guys obviously set out to do. Talking about shows, we talked about 25, 30 years of doing this. What is the most surprised and negatively or upset that you've been when you start getting in your head about, like, I brought to use Troy Ladd's words, I brought a gun to a knife fight, right? Because he's used that before in the paper at Amber. I'm not bitter.
Did he beat you?
He
did.
Yeah.
He did.
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, it was a
He
good
did.
car.
He
The
was-
Packard was. I mean,
Oh yeah, that's fucking.
Yes.
I mean, it was a gun.
yeah, it was a gun to a knife fight.
Much bigger
Exactly.
gun.
I mean, it wasn't as good, but it was a gun.
I
Yeah.
think that's a good way of describing it. Like, that little Roadster's a good car. It looked like a nice little knife.
We'll pocket knife.
like a well-made knife.
That car didn't deserve to win, Amber, but we were really excited about the car. I mean, the truck when we brought it.
It was cool.
Good truck.
That's not the most disappointed that I've ever been. But there's times where you get in your own head, and I want it for both of y'all. I think it's important for people to understand that, one, we're all human, but more importantly, you two robots are human.
One, I'll give 3 examples, I guess.
Third place in the Piatone car show.
14th place
after winning
ribbons are
nationals.
great.
Yeah.
3 examples. George, we brought a 39 Chevy I built for a local Ace Hardware guy. First customer car I ever did to Detroit. And it was kind of weirdo and everything. And that's how I met George. He beat me that day with his 37, but I got George as a customer. And kind of interesting. But, and then Roger Ritzau's 32 Ford when we brought it to Amber. It's a pretty good car.
I really like that car.
Pretty good car, and Mole beat us. He had, a totally different deal, right? Ours is subtle and very.
Which mole car?
It was like, I forget, it was the maroon, had all the very distinctive, everything was polished, blisters, and how Steve would do it, in your face, drinking out of a fire hose.
I do remember. Yes.
So I'm like, yeah, it's cool. It's 2 different cars and whatever. And I just told Roger, I'm like, that's all right. It's a good car. We'll see. And then
Roger's car was cool.
Then the top 75 of all time came out from Ford. when they picked the top 75 most influential 32 Fords ever done, and Rogers was the newest car on there, and that car wasn't. So I'm like, man, it's pretty cool. And then we did the Belvedere, and we set a damn standing mile record, and did the Hot Rod Drag Week, and got third out of like 20. Did the whole thing. I think we put one window fuse in it. And then
damn.
you pricks beat us on Muscle Machine of the Year.
With what?
It was the Chevelle, black Chevelle.
Onyx?
Muscle.
It was
the
so
red
non-memorable for them, and they still beat you.
The red interior?
I mean, dude, that's just
Yeah.
the kind of shit we
Yeah.
do. Like
Yeah.
we were
Of
just
course.
we're just always
I'm
winning.
thinking, hey,
Right,
the
right.
one time I'm thinking Muscle Machine of the Year, we got a standing mile record.
Shit.
We did the Hot Rod Drag Week, and you pricks beat us.
Yeah, well, they came back because Greening built a fucking Maverick that allegedly went 200 miles an hour, and that was the only reason he beat us for Street Machine.
I love Jesse. I love Jeff.
Well, I'm glad that like we were the ones that
Yeah,
upset
you
you.
banged
That's
me.
it,
I'm like,
man.
We made the
The
top
one
three.
time we
holding a grudge,
the
yeah.
one time we got it right.
I think we got a
two,
toolbox downstairs if
legit
you wanna take a look
I
at
know,
it.
right? Racing records. Yeah.
Well, it's funny how that works out to be on the other end of it because, like, like we didn't set out to win an award.
Yeah.
Right? It just fucking
It
happened.
just came
beat us.
naturally.
Yeah.
Does that make it any?
Yeah, I don't know if that helps or like.
That's not
It doesn't at all.
You shouldn't say that. Roger's car, it had 19s on the back, didn't it?
Yeah. Yep.
That pale green.
Yep.
Yeah. That was
Gray green. Yep.
That's
a good car. Yep. That's a good car. It's George always loved that car, and then even Ross, he really likes that car a lot. You know, it just
The Roadster.
yeah,
It's like one of the most
yeah,
tasteful.
pretty simple. Yeah,
that was
very,
the first.
very-
When I first got, that was right about the time you were doing rides.
Yeah,
I think.
yeah, yep.
And we came by. I was working for the Roadster shop, and we came by your shop.
Yep.
And it was
TP'd the shit out of the front lawn.
no, you.
Yeah, yeah.
You.
Egged it.
I don't know. You weren't there. I didn't meet you, but
Okay.
Levi was
Yep.
there. Levi was working on.
I think Levi did
they-
most of the work then. You weren't there that much.
I was just out riding around.
Yeah.
He was working on the kick-ups or something on it, but that was like such a surreal experience.
Yeah, it was
'cause
a good little car.
We were just building like cruise night cars and just fucking frame rails and chassis, and
Yeah.
that was like mind blowing.
And that was a lot of George, I mean, that was a lot of talking to George, the little Plymouth Dash it had in it, and just doing this and doing that. That was a lot
He
of,
loved to
lot of
find
his
little
influence, man.
Weirdo.
Yep. He was,
I got this. Put this in there.
Yep. He was really excited about that car. It was cool. So,
The damn attic that he had in the shop. You go up through there and you're like, I think I've got a couple of these wheels.
Yeah, oh,
and
yeah,
he's like,
yeah,
I go,
yeah.
my God.
quartered the market in
Yeah.
32 garnish moldings. Yeah.
Talking about 32s and, not to throw shade at Chip, even though he hasn't done this podcast yet, so I'm a little bitter of that. You remember when Chip tried to make an airplane out of a 32?
That was, yeah.
It was.
I rode
We
in
just
it.
saw it.
Yeah.
Really?
It was just at
The Zephyr? Which one are you talking
Yeah.
about?
No,
it was a
No.
Zephyr and a V12
Yeah.
flathead.
Yeah.
in it.
That was at.
Yeah.
That was in Link. It's at the
Was it
museum.
there?
Yeah.
I didn't see it, but I rode in it. Death Trap.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. We were there one night late, and he's like, hey, we'll go for a ride, and it's had that dual steering shit on there. He's
that's
bringing me
right.
around the damn complex and stuff, 900 mile an hour. Got
It's like a
that.
fucking go-kart with
Yeah.
fucking cables.
Puking everywhere. But no, it was, yeah. Yep. I rode in it.
Backing up just a little bit, and we talk about like the most disappointing experiences, the car show stuff. I mean, we've had pretty good success, besides the cars Troy did without me, but Bonneville's tough. honestly.
Served up very well.
I had more class rings than Liberace before I met this fucker. Winning all in Street Machine quad national champion.
in third place at the Tri-County car show.
I love this
The
relationship.
delivery. It's fucking awesome.
Bonneville is probably the most disappointing.
Yeah.
When you're talking about the car shows and that sort of thing, I mean, we are pretty aware that anything can happen, and we go in with our best intentions. But at Bonneville, there have been a number of times where you really think you have everything sorted out, and particularly when you qualify on a record there, the Streamliner, we just can't. It's like we can't get a record on it. We've qualified 3 times in either the weather or
Mariani line. Yeah. Mariani liner.
and he's just so frustrated. And the last time that I was there with the Streamliner and we qualified on a record, we had a crack in the front control arm, and I was more than willing to go anywhere, drive back to Illinois to fix the thing so that we could do it. And just for safety reasons, you just can't do it. Putting something back on there that was constructed the same way, but in the moment, I'm like, I'm here. I'm here now.
V-groove it and weld it up, baby.
Yeah. And
I couldn't do it.
And
Not a 360.
That's a.
and I mean, I was fired up. I mean, there's no two ways about it. I'm like, okay, so between when we left impound and when we got back to the pit, we've decided that we're just not going to race anymore. It's the third day of the event. We got all this time, and Troy's like, well, we just check things out, clean it up, and put it in the trailer. I'm like, all right, well, I'll come back once I calm down. You know, it's just like
it broke out in the middle of a chromoly tube. Like, and it's just, I'm like, it doesn't make any sense to me.
It's the right choice, but in the moment, you just so disappointed.
Check more things out.
Oh yeah. We came back and machined it out of 4130 chromoly plate. You could haul 47 tanks on it now. But it was. But that car's been fast, man. We killed the record by 20 mile an hour every time. But man, it got rained out, broke. Then last year we ran a pretty good hit, and
that is a
broke the rear end, broke the transmission.
Yeah. Well, you're talking about the ambulance ride and how expensive it was for 5 miles. The only thing more expensive is going down Bonneville.
It cost us $10,000 just to get there and back. I mean, just by the time
but it's
trucks and trailers. And
we've talked about it, before. Like, man, I bet I'm sure once you get the bug, you get the bug.
Oh,
right?
It's in there. Yeah.
But it's so much work all year long to do something that you have very little control over.
Yep.
But then if you look, all this whole hour, almost 2 hours we've been talking about car shows, it's all that work and effort for something you have very little control over.
No control over. Yeah.
So it's very similar to the same thing. Obviously, once you get like good weather and it performs fine, it does what it does. But all that kind of stuff you don't have any control over.
Yeah, we owned it in the first 6-7 years. I mean, just record after one after another, and man, then just getting our teeth kicked in for quite a while now.
We're paying our dues now.
Yeah, the Mariani Roadster sets records pretty much every time it goes out, but man, the rest of it's just went to NA Motors and the Blowfish, and you'd think, we just run laps, and I just don't think it likes it. It just keeps blowing stuff up.
There was a time where just like that was the next cool thing. There was a bunch of hot rod guys out there be like, "Well, Troy's building fucking land speed.
It must be easy."
Yeah. My proudest moment, they all went out there and tried, and the only ones that had any success is Kugel. Kugel boys have, they with their father.
Yeah, and
that's who I modeled. I called his father and the boys when I built that car just for some, because they'd went 301 in their Firebird.
I think the only door slammers besides the Blowfish are the Kugel car and the Hot Rod. The Hot Rod second gen.
Yeah.
What do they run out? I mean, they got a Roadster.
They have Roadsters now, that they still run, different ones, and they got brought back when their dad's old cars was kind of cool last year.
Yeah. What was the Kugel? It was a Firebird or something.
Yeah, they ran an F body, Firebird, but they were good guys. They've had success, and then
I think Bad Chad ran an Acadia out there. I think he was running. I think he ran.
It wasn't an escort wagon.
He ran an Acadia that was.
Acadia is like a box, dude. That thing's not going.
It's a Canadian Nova.
I know what it is.
Fucking deep reference. Fucking pull, buddy.
But yeah, that's cool. And like doing a 36, people. Oh, what's next? What's next? I mean, we're doing a little T-Bird driver, but like the next that Camaro is close. So I mean, that's what's cool, right? I mean, because that's kind of its own thing, that 36, and you don't want to come right back out with something even like remotely like that. So now you go over to this third gen Camaro.
Yeah.
How annoying is it though? At a
Disneyland.
show you debut a car. So what else you guys working on? What are you coming out with next?
Exactly. Yeah,
6 years worth of work right here, motherfucker.
Right. Exactly.
This is my child, and you're asking me what am I?
But that's
when am I gonna knock my wife up again? Here's my 4-year-old. Thanks.
That's what I like, because now you're gonna come out with that. It couldn't be any more left field from that.
Yeah, that's cool. When's that Camaro coming out?
Maybe we might. It could be slow and occur. It's coming along pretty well.
There has been a lot of
correct, man.
People have been following that for a long time.
I'm telling you, it's
what I love about that
cool.
car.
It's been in the shop at least 2 or 3 years now.
Yeah.
I know the cars you guys have been working on.
Yeah.
Not necessarily working on, but you've had it.
I've had a long time. Yeah.
But what's crazy about that is that it's as innovative today as it was when you guys first like debuted the custom mods and shit that you did to it. And it's been a while.
Yeah.
But
Oh, yeah.
I can't thank you enough because the timing is fucking perfect.
Yeah, it
because
is,
we are just coming out with a bolt-on spec chassis for those cars.
There you go.
So it's fucking fantastic that you're going to set the trend.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're going to spend all the time.
Get everybody
the
excited.
effort, get everybody
Get
excited
the
about it.
excitement.
Reap the
And then we're going to be
rewards.
like, well, guys, you could build something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bolt
Just
this
a little
chassis
bit.
on.
The rewards, baby.
Now, in full transparency, all styling decisions were done before you got there, right?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
You tweaking anything, or you go back? You just kind of
No.
Yeah, he won't be able to take any credit on this one.
No, I can't. I
fab work
safety
looked
wired.
pretty good on that.
I safety wired the calipers on the
other
Troy
day,
put on.
yeah.
the other day for
Cal-
literally
he
the
showed me the
first thing
pictures of
that
the brakes.
I did.
Yeah.
So you're in
So little
assembly,
time I
huh?
couldn't even build.
Oh
for
no,
it.
yeah, it's half assembled. It's on the chassis and the engine's in it and the brakes are done, the suspension's done, and
No interior.
yeah.
Who's going to do the
Waiting
interior?
on the interior
Casey,
guy
Casey
over here.
actually
yeah,
at the
Casey,
shop,
all the
fab-
metal work's
fabbed
done.
a lot of it.
Yeah,
already.
really.
Yeah, I
It's-
don't know who's going to finish it though.
it's cool, man. It's got a lot of cool parts on it. Yeah, the brakes are sick. I mean,
Yeah,
Yeah.
looking forward to
everything's
seeing
got
that.
brakes, but I'm telling you, they're over. It's cool.
You know, an upholstery shop that'll
Yeah,
do
there's
it.
a few local ones here.
I just seen what your upholstery shop does.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you could do that.
Yeah, we don't have time. Yeah.
He's gonna do it.
I think Catskin does a kit for those.
They do.
Good.
Get them, just like you go to the fair and you just get that plastic license plate with whatever you want on. They vacuum form it.
Yeah.
Get them door panels all done up.
But it's a
seen that
big
one.
Al's.
Yeah.
Big Al's Carponas.
Big Al's
You'd
Carponas.
still be selling that.
I still got
armrest.
scars on my elbows.
dude.
My Buell Academy turned it. Yeah, I'm getting some bitch in. My arm's still ringing.
That's what that scar is from.
It's the same ad for like 30 years.
We would all
It's
be
gotta be a
fucking
record.
shocked. I wouldn't be surprised if Big Al Carponents is like 150,000 square foot fucking
Yes.
warehouse
Yes.
with just boxes of those.
I know, I'm
like
telling you.
automated. It's like Amazon level. Of,
They-
you don't know where they're going, but there's
They're just
they
moving.
have like an overseas buyer.
Yeah.
Hands down world record on ads in a magazine of the same one.
Yes.
And I had them in 1990.
Yeah.
I can see him supply like all the mail trucks in the EU. Like they've got that. Whole European Union's got those
It's gonna
consoles.
be- you're going to be fucking around in like Fort Lauderdale, and you're going to see like one of those 140-foot yachts.
Oh, yeah, they got them in there.
Big Al.
And that's just Al.
Big Al. It's got some little brush billet thing on the back. You're like, no way.
Yeah.
Half them boats in Monaco probably had him in them.
Yeah.
But yeah. But this, yeah. So we got a couple of cool ones coming out, but the Hudson truck's going to be
Hudson truck. huh?
sick. Yeah. Yeah, that's a 39 we've had for about 4 years. For Matt
Yeah, it's
Jewell,
just-
the guy,
just waiting.
our Bonneville racer from Davenport. That's the one with the V12 twin turbo 1936 Cadillac engine in it. We're doing, and it's all same thing, same tire wheel, torsion bar,
Really?
no fenders.
No fenders.
No fenders. It'll be like a little. We're gonna really
Like a rat rod then.
sprint inspired,
like a hardcore rat rod.
like a sprint race truck.
Okay.
Inspired, but with a 1936 V12 Cadillac in it, twin turbo, two little turbos injected. We've been working on the engine for a while. It's gonna be sick.
That'd be cool.
Be sick. Kind of like
is-
the Model A and 36 smashed together, but a truck.
Nice.
This is coming from a guy that's like was doing like injected full blown EFI before the iPhone was around, right? On small blocks. Pushing the envelope. He's doing a twin turbo V12 1936 engine. And he's out there being like, 8L90. Why don't you put those? Put a 4L80 in it. Put a 4L80 in it.
That's probably what's put
Hey, if you want it to work.
What do you got for
We're on
trims? in that thing?
C6.
That one's actually going to be a
39
4L65.
Okay.
Yeah, we have an adapter. And then actually Wes's 39 LaSalle we're working on. It's pretty cool. It's a Cadillac LaSalle flathead. We stroked it a half inch. So it's got a big stroke crankshaft in it. It's like 400 inches, but it's single turbo, fuel injected with a transaxle.
Flathead.
Shit.
Flathead.
Wow.
It's pretty trick. We're making a front drive for it right now. It's kind of interesting.
Weird as well.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
weird.
That's cool.
Yeah. It's just fun because it's fun drivetrain. I mean, big, probably 400 horsepower. It ain't
Yeah.
gonna be much, but it'd be
Yeah.
injected with a little turbocharger on it and
Talking about-
transaxle.
Talking about money when you were talking earlier about like how much that cost. You get into the flathead world.
Oh yeah.
You want to talk about disproportionate for horsepower.
Our race engine's probably the all-time champion, the one who set the Bonneville record with. I mean, to make 300 horsepower out of an NA flathead,
100.
because we made the heads, the pan girdle, pan intake, exhaust.
Everything.
Filled the block with aluminum, machined all the runners are down through the water jackets, made the combustion chambers. I mean, it's a bad
Wouldn't it have
dude,
been
man.
easier to just get a worn out 5.3 liter LS and make some flathead valve cover adapters?
look like it.
Wouldn't have got a record though.
Yeah.
Wouldn't have got a record.
Yep.
Yeah, the
And a
rules.
vintage engine
It's
class.
got to be a forward flathead, and the valves have to stay in it, and it has to be mechanical injected, so you can do whatever else. So we swapped the intake and exhaust valve and made the. I mean, it's a bad dude, man.
But
that might be
still,
our
you're
most
right.
exciting, like 165 mile an hour record, because your
Yeah.
hands are tied. I mean, everybody
Really?
runs 140 in that class. I don't care. You can bolt on every hot rod aftermarket flathead thing ever, and about 140 is what you get.
Really?
Until you get into this witchcraft stuff we did on it, and then to get that extra 25 mile an hour, man, it's a whole nother deal. But
Yeah.
it was good because Matt had ran that class for 4 years, 4 different engines, went 140, and then we met him, and he wanted to build a new car. I'm like, the car's pretty good. Let's just do an engine, and did the engine, and right off the trailer, man, we got lucky a little bit. You know, we went 165, set the record. I mean, everybody wants that record. Everybody wants it.
Yeah.
And it's tough. It's a tough record.
It's one of the longest running records.
Yeah.
Really?
So late 40s, I think.
Yeah.
Started
And
running that
it's-
roadster record.
So we have it right now, and it's cool. But like I said, we're as excited about that as going 320 to Blowfish.
Yeah.
I think that's what Dan Gurney was. They were going to run for that record in that picture we saw. Remember in AAR?
yeah.
They got all the parts and stuff like that.
That was cool.
That's the coolest fucking picture.
Yeah, it
we were
was badass.
a little offshoot, but we were at AAR's place in California, right? So Gurney's place. So Justin Gurney's son
Yeah.
showing us through. You ever been there?
Uh-uh.
Mind blowing.
Oh, I bet.
Mind blowing, right? Same place they were building. You know, they're in business
Yeah.
now, still today.
Yeah.
But
He
everything
just passed away, right?
Dan did. what,
Dan did.
yeah.
Dan, a year or two ago, right?
Yeah, about 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So we're through the place, and Justin's showing us all stuff. Like, the stuff that's in there is wild. Absolutely wild. The stuff they were doing in the 50s and 60s, wild. Magnesium bodies, like
Yeah.
Foreman magnesium. Anyway, so we're looking at all the cars. There's this huge picture. It's got to be, what, 14
It's
foot
every
by
bit
10
as
foot?
big as
It's
that,
huge.
mind you.
Printed out, and it's like 4 guys. You know, there's like a 39 Ford, like chain towing, like bumper pulling a 32 Ford, and it's Dan Gurney and 2 of his friends, and he's holding like an offie intake, and other guys grabbing some heads. It's a picture just happenstance. They're loading everything up to head to Bonneville. To just run, and
It
it's
was like one guy owned the car, one guy owned the rear
Yeah.
end,
Yeah.
one
And they-
guy owned the motor.
they
used to
rented
test
something
it out.
else.
Awesome, man.
It was like mid 40s or early 40s. What was it?
Yeah, it was. I mean, he was like 17 years old or something like that. It was fucking crazy. It's just like just a shot that happened. They found it
Yeah.
and they blew it up, and you're just looking at it. You're like, well, that's like hot rod.
Yeah,
like it's
That's Bonneville, period.
It's
I'm in the
just-
story. I mean,
cool.
Vic Edelbrock, I sat in and he talked at Detroit one time about his dad being out there and putting nitro in a flathead, man. It was a great story. I mean, just awesome. Yeah, just kept
Parts
putting it in there
everywhere.
until the heads came off, you know. But it just was awesome. But I mean, that's really Bonneville. I mean,
just get out there and go.
yeah, and it's like, and that's where you have a lot of appreciation. You see the same guys out there; they go there every year. That's their trip. They may not even have a record; they're just trying to go 1 more mile an hour faster, you know, and that's just consumed them, you know. And
Wow.
it's just awesome. We're lucky to have guys, you know, and we setting some records and all that, but it's just everybody's on the same playing field. You know, it's just novice racing. It's pretty awesome.
Where you go out to what, like El Mirage to shake stuff down?
We
or-
don't know. We go to Bonneville.
But that's
yeah.
the only.
That's the only place. That's only a mile. That's a mile and a 3/4 mile shutdown, and they have an event every month or every other month, and a point system and all that. And a lot of guys do that. I've never run in the dirt out there. The Marianis, they run a couple cars in the dirt out
What's
there.
the place in Australia or New Zealand that you can run in?
Well, Australia's Lake Gardner. That's really good salt. I mean, that's thick, but it's like, it makes Wendover look like downtown New York as far as being, it's really remote.
Oh.
The only thing out there is like containers that they have makeshift bunks and
But
stuff in.
you can run for.
Oh,
like,
it's
a
big.
while,
Yeah.
right?
Where's the
big.
place in South America?
Bolivia. Bolivia is the one they've just been running at a lot.
But that's not salt. That's all Coke, right?
No, it's all Coke.
It's just
It's hard packed.
Yeah, I mean, shit, you know.
Getting that into the intake, that kind of.
Yeah, Bolivia is the new place, and it's like 4 feet thick, rock hard, and I mean gigantic. But it's absolutely, miserable
days
to
to
get
get to it.
there.
Yeah.
Like by the time you got to get your shit there.
Yeah.
On some ocean liner
Shipping
for
it.
700 years, and then they haul the container out there. And I mean, it's a logistic nightmare, but the
Service.
quality's fantastic. Yeah. But it doesn't matter how much money you have. It's a tough thing to ship stuff that far, and you got to bring everything because there's nothing.
call Danny
everything.
and Eric. Danny will get it there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Danny will.
High center 32 in a trailer. I mean, what could possibly go wrong shipping something to Bolivia?
Danny, I'm gonna need you to get to Bolivia by next week.
Fucking George, you little cocksucker! You better not embarrass me. Danny's in there first time driving a blowfish, scared to death, and that's George leaning. You little cocksucker! You better not embarrass me. You better not spin out. So yeah, it was.
He spun out.
Oh yeah, 280.
Later.
When he spun
Yeah,
out at
later.
280, George was pretty good about that. But yeah.
All right, we're gonna do a restroom break, and then we're gonna come back for standard questions.
Okay.
I got to do a restroom break. Yeah.
Go ahead, man.
I'm glad you've listened to my influence and changed the.
I was gonna say potty break.
Potty? You gotta
That's
do a
fine.
potty break?
I got to take a piss.
Yeah, Josh,
I got to take a man piss. That's better. Wrapping up. We're coming up to standard question time.
Yeah. Before, I think we should mix it up because the standard. You're not standard guys.
No, they've all been on here before too.
Right. I got one for you guys that.
Okay.
To fire at each one of you.
It's gonna be a banger. I'm sure it's gonna be great.
What's your favorite Canadian car builder?
I was going to go with.
Would you
your most
hire
hated-
somebody to move your paint booth?
Yeah.
I'll move it. Yeah. It's a little different for you because you're half his age, but I'll ask the question.
Yeah, exactly.
What's the? Is there still a car after all the cool shit that you've done? Have you still got something in your head that you're like, man, I got to find the right customer.
The right customer.
That I got to pitch this, or I got to find the guy that'll do this. Is there that
Go ahead.
car?
You can go ahead.
Yeah.
Exists for either?
One of them we're gonna do, and it's just a side note. Like me and George talked about building 500 cars, that we never built.
Yeah.
Because I went out and got my own customers, and he appreciated it. But we always talk about, and if all I had to say is yes, let's do that. But I couldn't do it time wise. But 61 Starliner, he loved those, and we're actually gonna do one coming up here for a customer. So that's pretty cool. But
Thing needs some suspension under it.
I already asked. You guys already got the chassis for it, and I always want to do a Baja vehicle
Yeah.
because I raced it, and man, it'd be cool to do it again, but something you built in a smaller class. But
Sure.
probably like car wise, that's we've talked about. That's hands down is 30s Mercedes inspired Grand Prix car, but build it as a Bonneville car.
Ooh.
Closed canopy, fairing axle, and everything. And me and Adam have talked about it, and inline motor and
Sure.
and everything. And it'd be historic, to haul around like in raw.
That'd
And
be fucking
I mean,
killer.
I'm telling you, sick.
Yeah.
Because everything in that class in a Lakester is like a belly tanker or shit like that. But this would be modeled after that, and we're gonna do it. And we've had we got a couple customers, they all you have to do is like, oh yeah, here's the rendering, and be like, boom,
Done.
But that's just cool. It's something I really definitely want to do.
There's just the 7 words you used. Like, I see it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm telling you. Just because everybody's expectation of a Lakester out there is a belly tanker.
Yeah.
It's traditional, right? And it's cool. But you come out there with that sumbitch, like inspired after that, or even like the auto union
Yeah.
car.
Pan-
It's that
Panned,
feel.
but
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
yes,
That
single.
feel.
It's-
It's inline motor, so it's all correct. And I mean, the records aren't bad. They're like 200 mile an hour. You could get like in a 2 club and not have to go 900 mile an hour. And,
Sure.
But I mean, just be sick.
It's probably the same for me. We've talked about that car with a number of people, and Troy and I back and forth, and we had customers interested in belly tankers and that sort of thing in the past. And the fact is, they're only going to be competitive to a certain degree. But I've always loved those Auto Union cars and the Silver Arrows from Mercedes at the same era. And so doing a body like that's got a full canopy and wing and everything, the things that need to be in place for the sake of aerodynamics but have similar aesthetic to it. Aerodynamically, it would still be competitive, but you'd have something that still looks kind of vintage. And whether you leave the aluminum body or whatever, we could do something that looks like it came from the 30s or 40s, but be competitive now.
What the Auto Union cars, were they V16s or?
I can't remember.
Crazy.
12s, yeah. They're bitches.
Like zero weight oil or
and they're cool. Yeah. And obviously the Hudson truck because that's already on slate. But because that racy inspired stuff because of Bonneville and that, and being able to, we're gonna try to, like we were just at Speedway Museum looking at some of the old Miller stuff, and just to try to pay attention a little bit more on the drivetrain and not get too foo-foo, and more silver and charcoals and more like hardcore parts and leave it raw and that feel a little bit. But that this thing would be just...
That Speedway Museum's almost overkill.
Oh, it's like drinking out of a fire hose. I mean, it's
hard to take in.
It's the most incredible collection of stuff.
It's
wild.
Hot rod
insane,
stuff for sure.
But
How about the car for yourself? If you still got the passion, you still got the spark. If you could have just a hot rod that, whether it's something you jump in and fuck around with on the weekends or just the ultimate, I've got to own this.
A airbag minivan.
Escort wagon.
Escort wagon, yeah.
We've
polished.
We've heard about his
could have been cooler, Phil.
We've heard about his
Taurus
passion
wagon or
for
Sable.
super detailed escorts.
The RS6 Avant Escort wagon. I see.
Yep. See, wagon.
Even if it's something
55 Plymouth wagon that I do have. Mark Ward from Texas, Sonsa Road, had got for me and my dad to do before he died, and it's sitting there. It's an unrestored car now I'm just afraid to bring it here because I'm kind of hyper focused guy, so we'd have to do it, and we'd be doing it through the shop and everything else. I'm gonna do it eventually. That's a cool body style, and
is it like the postless?
No, that one has a post, and it's kind of got that forward-facing sheet metal, I guess, for lack of better terms. It's cool, kind of mid-sized.
Sniper,
yeah, sorta, yeah. But it's a cool wagon, and then the 4-cylinder turbo that we raced in the Blowfish originally. I have enough stuff. We're working on putting it back together and have that 4-cylinder 3-liter in it, turbocharged, 10,000 RPM.
Ooh. Well, you need a chassis for your own personal car. You just let us know. We'll charge you close to full pop.
I like 50 over this, But I'm gonna. I just want that, and I don't give a shit if it's painted. I want it chassis caged and that little buzzsaw in there, just for
That'd be fun.
Giving rides, man. I mean, because you could do an R5 Dodge and it'd be more probably suitable, but nowhere near as cool when you open the hood and you got that buzzsaw in there. Because, I mean, there ain't nothing like that motor. No. Nothing.
To what you're talking about, like fun little... Don't you think Columbus Good Guys needs to do more? I mean, the parking lot party is obviously a party. They need to start letting us, fuck around with some cars a little bit more.
Yeah,
right?
Let her eat.
Yeah. We need to have a little
OG Indy.
Yeah, it needs to get a little bit looser. Yeah. Right. We need to be out there.
We used to. I mean, obviously Adams Mark.
Does Good Guys host the party?
Well,
yeah, they do. Or
I don't know how much
maybe they don't.
Somebody else should.
Or maybe they don't.
Somebody. Yeah. It just needs to get a little bit more
rowdy.
Yeah. Not crazy, but
bring back Adams Mark Indy. Forget about the rest of the show.
No, was that the best, man?
Just go to Adams Mark Indy, and it's just
that was
a party.
Shit,
that was the best.
You felt like that was like you felt like custom bike builders back then because it was like you were fucking cool. All right, the guys are fucking doing burnouts. Everybody's doing badass. You guys are drag racing. It was badass.
Yeah. Now it needs to bring it. Everybody's gotten too old and scared.
We used to leave the show early to get that premier spot.
I think it was those dudes.
Now you leave the show early just to fall asleep.
It was the one.
Go out to eat or something. Something
the combination was there was a guy in a 32 that the body exited the chassis.
That was a Columbus.
That was a Columbus thing. He fucking
went off the road,
smoked a tree in a fiberglass car. Body went off the chassis.
Like OZ rods.
Did you guys ever get down to DuQuoin? Street Machine National?
Never before our time.
Absolute chaos.
Really?
I mean, retard fest, man. I'm telling you. No.
National Guards, bro.
National Guard down there. I mean, like
Really?
people like you. Next morning, you're going to the showroom, or they're in the ditch sleeping. I mean, just a mess.
I've heard Tim Strange talk about it all the
mess.
time, but he embellishes.
And he was
it's
10 years
legit.
old when he went.
So we had a picture this. You ready for this, Josh? You talk about OBS bullshit. So what do we have? We had a 73 Riviera.
Okay.
On the ground, right? Laying on the ground. Porsche Raspberry, that same terrible color I painted my Chevelle.
Yep.
And we'd pull the trailer with my 60 Chevy on the back of that fucker, that mint green. So it's just a mess. So we at the Marion Hotel Holiday Inn in the back, it was at the old double balcony hotel, and it was just burnout lane, right? Everybody's just there. I mean, it's packed. Everybody's hammered and doing burnouts and stuff. We come around with that 455 Riviera, and my dad and his buddy walking in front of it, and my dad's walking, but my dad's buddy Gino blowing fireballs with Rheinzol lighter fluid.
Did he have a shirt on or off?
Oh, it's off. Yeah, 400 pounds, about 6 foot, blowing fireballs, and we come up, just burn the Riviera. I mean, to the ground, right? Set the fire alarms off in a hotel, and the fire truck show up. I mean, that's what DuQuoin was all about. I mean, bananas. Yeah.
Do you think Porsche Raspberry sounds better than pink?
Yeah, no, it's a easier letdown, maybe, or whatever. Yeah,
You got to Google it.
yeah, but that was a good show. But, yeah,
I've heard stories.
man, it was nuts, man. I'm telling you, it was like, dude, you don't even know where we came from.
That show still goes on.
It came back,
but it's not
beautiful fairgrounds too. I mean, the lakes and stuff. It was a good show there for a while.
Where the fuck is DuQuoin?
Marion South. It's Carbondale. South, yeah, SIU.
Got it.
It's all the little network down there. And then they had the football team was the, they help body, bouncers, whatever you want to call it. I mean, because it was out of control, man. It was. They got thrown out of Indy. It was at Indy at the state fairgrounds, and they had a National Guard in there, and they tossed them out. And it went down there, and it wasn't any better. It was crazy at night. But yeah.
If you're gonna build something personal, what would it be?
I think we talked about it when I was on here last time. I'd like to do something that's like a Ferrari 330. What is it, 330 P4, something like that. Real swoopy. Yeah. Something late 50s, mid 60s.
Fiberglass.
Yeah, fiberglass.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
course.
Yeah, my material of choice, really.
Find somebody that gets you shape. Marcella can do those, like out of metal.
Sure.
Yeah,
And then you can pull a plug
aluminum.
on it.
Yeah,
and
like,
then
I mean,
We're gonna build a metal buck and make it out of fiberglass.
Yeah, anybody
Come
can
on.
do it. Yeah, do the mold and then the reverse. Yeah.
Yeah.
You start with a Fiero?
Oh, you can't tell the difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just listened to who was it? Callie's, the Callie's crankshaft guy.
Oh, yeah.
At the Speedway Museum, they were talking. They had a couple of Fieros there, and they had it for a pace car.
Yeah.
In Indy.
Yeah.
And they're talking about putting a V8 in and everything. So yeah.
Do you
them
think
Fieros
the
are
statute
badass.
of limitations has run out? Can you tell the Fiero story?
What fear?
The greatest Fiero story of all time.
Bender.
Oh. I don't know. In today's
Yeah.
landscape, I'm
it's
not
touchy
sure.
right now. It's better off-air story.
What's the worst that could happen?
I think
Exactly.
I think we could tell it. I think we could tell it.
The worst that could happen is they edit it
I think we
out.
could tell it. I think we could work through it and keep
Use
it.
You got to be creative.
I think we keep it.
Replace words with other words.
Yeah, you got to be creative.
Puppies.
Okay, so here we go.
I saw that Instagram post.
There's a bar. There's a bar next door, Crossroads. We used to go there fucking every night. We'd be working. You'd work all night, go get some beers. And you'd be out till fucking 2 a.m. Then go back home, do it all again the next day. Had a guy working for us. His name was Bender. Bender was just a fucking wild man. Great fabricator. He was a chassis shop.
Is that his real
guy.
name?
What the fuck? Michael.
Yeah.
Michael Bender.
Michael Allen.
Michael Allen, and Bender was a hockey name.
Okay.
Fucking wild man.
Bend it like Beckham.
But full throttle.
One of your other favorite movies.
Full fucking throttle all the time. And one of those guys that it just took like that much peer pressure. Like, hey, Bender, why don't you, go do this? And he would do it. We go over to this bar, and we're standing there. Everybody's having some fucking cocktails. You look at the bar and you clearly see that there's two chicks that they're not chicks. They're older men.
It was clear to you.
I think it was
clear to
pretty
everybody
clear.
except Bender.
I mean, but you're talking skirt, makeup, long hair, boobs. Like, you know, they've transitioned.
They put an effort into it.
They've transitioned.
Yeah. All right.
Well, I forget how I worded it, but peer pressure comes into
Go
play.
hit on that
And
chick.
one of them happens to, I noticed they're driving a Fiero. So I somehow con him into like going, I'm like, dude, you go see if you can get a ride in the fucking Fiero. These chicks are hot. And these chicks want to fucking party. So go tell me from the Roadster shop. You know, so one thing leads to another. He gets up to the bar. He's fucking chatting it up with them. He's talking. We now exit because the conversation's going on and on. Like, he's obviously hitting it off. So we kind of walk out. We're standing out the back door where there's another outdoor bar. And a bunch of us are sitting there. We're having beers and we're fucking talking. And all of a sudden, I think I'm getting ahead of myself because this is... Okay, sorry. I'm getting ahead of myself because this is the tail end. Let me back up because I forgot the best part. The conversation goes on, and then Bender is gone. Okay? So, we're like, where the fuck is Bender? We don't see the ladies, whatever that is going on at the bar. They're gone, too. And then we look outside, and there you see through the front window, you see Bender, and he's like, yeah, dude. He's getting into the Fiero with her. And next thing you see is this thing.
It's just one of them, whoever owned the car.
Backing up, it was obviously like a 5-speed or something, because you know that like sensation of the car backing up and then kicking the clutch, doing a fucking burnout, and Bender's going back, and you see they tear down the street, and he's got his hand out the window, and he's at this point he still doesn't know the situation. He legitimately doesn't know. He thinks he's got some fucking cougar taking him for a ride, and they go ripping down the fucking road, banging gears, chirp second, round the corner.
As fast as a Fiero can go.
Yeah. They come back. Now they're back at the bar.
Only second to a Miata.
They're back at the bar. Well, at this point now, we'll pick back up where I was going. We're standing outside, all having beers. He comes fucking flying up. Door swings open, almost breaks off the hinges. He's running. He outruns his legs. He tumbles down the fucking stairs, does like a dive roll, shreds both of his knees, gets up, and he's like, "Get out of fucking dick!" And you're like, we're like, what? How do you know? Dude, because I fucking touched it. I fucking felt it. So he's sitting at the bar, runs a hand up her leg.
I thought you were going to get creative on the wording of the story.
Yeah, I was going with it.
Yeah, I saw that.
We could edit that part out, but runs a hand up her leg and just gets a handful of shaft at the bar.
Surprise.
It frightened him.
So did he go home with her or no?
No, he didn't go home.
Yeah.
No, he shook it off. He took it like
You guys probably wore that goddamn story out for the next year.
Why do you think he doesn't work here anymore?
Yeah.
There's fellers a dancing and fellers a kissing. I don't know how we got there.
we did.
Fieros.
We did. Fieros.
Yeah, Fieros.
All right. We went through the car build stuff. You've told what's gone down is probably one of the greatest stories in all time.
The Chip Foo story.
The Chip Foo story was...
It's a good one.
There's nothing that has beat that story yet. But I don't think you've told your favorite SEMA story.
That wasn't...
That wasn't
No,
SEMA
that was
story.
in Japan.
That was Japan.
That was Japan.
I've heard, I don't know if you can tell the story, but I've heard a story. I think Danny was there, and this was Rides time, right?
This when we were at the club, probably, and it was just me and Danny, basically, and Chip, and in the audience.
Wasn't there a movie star showed up?
Well, yeah, myself, but yeah. So we're at the Sahara. We're at the Sahara, and it was it was late, and me and Danny and Chip, and he's the guy singing, and gets done, and Chip's standing up and he's clapping, you know. So he introduces me. you know, got world famous here, and introduced me. But anyway, I can't remember the whole damn story, but it wasn't as, it's still not as good as the Japan one.
What was this? There's a story. No, isn't there a Vern Troy story?
Oh no, that's Moose.
Oh, that's Moose's story.
Moose, yeah.
Troy, the little dude?
Yeah. So Moose is doing. Back in the day, we did all the car shows for the Laravees, Bob Senior and son, Junior, and I mean we do like 15, 20 of them. Well, with whatever new car we had, he'd pay us to go around, and of course Moose did them all. And my dad went a lot, and I went sometimes, but that's when they had Vern Troyer going around. It was probably during the time of Austin Powers.
Yeah, it was right through Austin Powers.
Right?
Yeah,
that was Moose was. I mean, only fucking Moose. He was. They were at the bar, same hotel. So fucking Moose in his heyday, he's drinking with Vern Troyer, right? And he come back and he's telling us this story. I'm like, come on, man. He's like, yeah, he's guy's like 16 inches tall, you know. So this Dan Houlihan that worked for me, I mean, he's funny son of a bitch, man. I mean, this guy was out, he's like 16 inches tall, and he's just calling him out on it and all this shit. And Moose like, yeah, he got this guy, Moose said, oh, he needed money, so Moose picked him up, put him at the ATM machine. I mean, think of Moose, right? Big forearms, and then he's holding this fucking Vern Troyer up. And they're getting money at the ATM machine, and some guy makes him mad. Oh, Vern Troyer, he's tough, you know. And he's just going on and on about Vern Troyer. I'm like, come on, you fucking you're drinking with Vern Troyer, and he's telling us he's 16 inches tall or some shit, you know. And I mean, Adam could probably even fill in the blanks on it, but I'm telling you, it
gets real sad when he drinks.
Yeah, it gets real sad when he drinks. It's like, fucking
who doesn't? Yeah.
Oh fuck, man. I mean, it was like having Dan there because he was such a. Dan was awesome at like picking up on traits of people and shit, man. I mean, fucking hilarious. Yeah, and he'd just imitate him and stuff. But yeah, that was Moose drinking with Vern Troyer, probably like in Kansas City somewhere in a bar.
Know.
Yeah,
I don't remember.
Yeah, telling us all his shit, and you're like, "What are you talking about, Vern Troyer? You picked him up and brought him to the ATM machine."
It's real scrappy.
That's pretty good shit. We ran into Ron Jeremy. Late
no
night.
way.
Yeah, late night at some.
What era? What era is this? Like when
this was probably 10, 11 years ago.
Yeah, Vegas. We're at like some buffet or.
I know exactly where we were.
It was at the Hard Rock.
At the Hard Rock.
Yeah,
We're eating, right?
It was
3 in the morning.
It was 3:30 in the morning at the only diner that was open.
America's Diner, Denny's.
Yes.
Yeah.
In the Hard Rock.
He comes walking in with 2 chicks.
Come on.
Yeah,
But yeah, he's there. 2 chicks.
He looked rough.
Yeah, I mean, looked exactly
As
like you would
usual.
think he would look like in Vegas at 3 in the morning, right? Man, and so we're sitting there, we're laughing like, "Oh fuck, that's the damn hedgehog."
Yeah,
and random woman like with her husband or boyfriend or something like that. They're coming through the casino, right? She's half lit. She's the one that notices Ron Jeremy, right? Oh my God, it's Ron Jeremy. Runs over the little bar thing, and they just go mouth kissing straight into it. And then she runs off with her husband. And it's like man, that's
Yeah, it's tough.
yeah.
SEMA stories are the best.
Do you have another SEMA story or no?
Let me think.
I feel like Adam knows of one.
I no,
I did.
I don't.
We did go back in the heyday. See, like Chip, he's like,
Instigate.
Chip's in a lot of your.
I could bring the best out of
Can
him.
you get Chip on this show?
Yeah, I can get him.
He said he's not doing it.
I'll get him. We'll come.
Why
up
did
here.
he say? Why did he say?
I haven't heard. I haven't talked to him.
I bring out the best in him though, because we were.
We would love to have
this
Chip
has
on.
been, Jesus, early, probably mid '90s. We went to the hell was the name of that club? It wasn't Olympic Gardens. I think it was something else out there. Strip club.
Okay.
Down there by the Sahara. And Boyd Jr.'s like, hey, come down here, you know. So we're like, all right, you know, we wandered down there finally, and Boyd Jr. was there, and he was a mess. And I mean, there was this just chaos, right? And we're going on and on and on and having a good time messing around, and he slides out the door, you know, and me and Chip are there, and we're carrying on, and all of a sudden the bill comes up, and you know, he was gone.
Oh.
And it was like,
Conveniently.
couple $1,000 or something. I mean, they're talking early mid 90s.
It's a lot.
No, it's like
Hey, you,
looking
that's a
for,
good night.
you were
looking
doing
for
before
payment.
you got there.
Yeah, looking for payment. Yeah.
So y'all
Oh, yeah.
looking at each
Oh,
other.
Yeah. So I'm like, yeah. He took care of it somehow. I think. I don't know how he did it, but yeah. I'm like, hey, that's your boy, man, not mine. I mean, and I think I told you they came to town and we had a little golf outing. That was Chip and Boyd Jr. They came to Mantino late, probably after we did the Sniper. And we had a little golf outing. That was fun because, I mean, Chip obviously has no business with any type of athletic event, And my old man was driving a golf cart, had that in the lake. Yeah, we lost that one in the lake. The cart was gone. Yeah, he'd come over to fucking T-box and jump that fucker into the lake. Just fucking left that thing there. So we end up back at the shop and out of our little shop in the alley there. And
It's a
I don't know.
small town too.
Yeah,
I mean,
and so we're I don't know what we were putting on the golf balls. We were like lighting them on fire, and we were teeing them off towards the grain elevators. I mean that was an interesting night. But yeah, we did some. But
glad
yeah.
we've all done like basically
Yeah.
the same shit.
Chip just got remarried. He just got married.
Yeah, that's what I heard. That was
Probably why he's
good.
not coming on the podcast.
That was good.
Possibly. I don't know why.
Wants to
No
stay.
I don't know.
stories.
I don't
No
know what
stories.
we've done
But
to
I-
offend him, but he will not.
I
come
will
on.
get his ass
everything.
here, and I will get from Brad Gerber. He's the guy that has that footage of us getting his hair cut in Mount Fuji. I mean,
There's never been a better
No,
story
trust
told
me.
on this podcast.
it would be because I know he has it, and he's the advertiser, marketing director for NHRA now, so I know where he's at. So I can get, and I know he has the footage because he told me he has it. And I mean,
I don't know.
I'm telling you,
I think we're headed opposite directions. We're trying to get Chip on the show.
We just haven't made that. But if we get him on the show, we'll delete the footage.
Yeah, but if we can't,
yeah, he'll be here.
Black.
we would
He'll be
love
here.
that footage.
Yeah, now that I'm telling you, it would be.
What's your
I just wanna
favorite
see the footage.
SEMA or all car show story? Everybody's got to have that story. Meeting somebody, crazy night, whatever. There's got to be. What's the story? There isn't one.
Mine's easy.
No.
When
What
we
is it?
unveiled the Sniper, 50th anniversary of Hot Rod Magazine, and they inducted the first 50 guys into the Hot Rod Hall of Fame, and it was like John Force, Mario Andretti, that type of crowd at the Hilton.
Big Al.
in 90s. Big Al,
Right. He was.
of course, longest running ad ever. I mean, come on. It was 96 or 97. And it was at the Hilton Ballroom. I mean, the whole fucking thing. And Hot Rod put it on.
Oh, wow.
And we unveiled the Sniper that night on stage, covered in a green kind of silk parachute. And Dave McCullough from NHRA did the announcing. I mean, it was awesome. I mean, just to be able to have that
brightness.
audience with like all these
That's
race car guys and all the shit, and then pulling the cover off that thing in there was really something. It was a great opportunity, and then having Dave McCullough, was the voice of NHRA, obviously.
Dave McClellan
It
was
was
the
cool,
voice
man.
of NHRA,
Yeah.
HRIA.
Yep.
He was, and in most of all the industry companies that you would call through that
Yeah.
era too.
Yep.
You call. Hey,
Hey,
this is Dave McClellan. Thank you for calling
calling
Excel
Vintage
Wires.
Big Flowmaster guy.
Yeah.
Hello,
And,
voice.
and then that was the first car I built for George too, so it was just awesome.
So you talked about that at Detroit. How did that even conversation? He beat you, and then he comes up. He's like, "Hey,
So he beat me, and then
Did he talk about doing that then, or was it
no.
later on the road tour?
I had that 39 Chevy, and
he had the red 37."
Yeah, that he sold at the show to
Yeah.
I can't remember his name, but he sold it.
He sold it after he won.
Yeah, Don Pilkington built it for him, and he sold it to another guy, friend of his, owned a seed company in Memphis. There, I can't
When have you
remember
ever?
his name.
Was he ever sentimental about anything? A very few.
Not much. And then it was that would have been January? When the hell was the show?
March.
Riddler, yeah, March. Yeah, I should know that.
Late February, early
Yeah.
March. Yeah.
So it would have been June, I guess. We're sitting on the rooftop of the Peterson Museum, and for the power tour, and we're driving this 39 Chevy that I built, on the power tour. That's why we built it. And I kind of look down, I see somebody waving. I'm like, I think it's George. I just met him for the first time. And so we walked down there and talking to him, you know, what's going on, this and that. And I'm like, oh, you guys drive, you know, you driving that 39 Chevy, you know? I'm like, yeah, I said, that's why we built it, you know, and all that. So we're driving cross country, and every night we stop and talk in the parking lot. And then he finally asked me, you know, what are you building next? And I'm like, well, I said, I actually had just a 9x11 thing that I was going to build for myself. It was going to be my next car, but I'm like, yeah, if I can swing it or not. And I was talking to Chip one night on the phone. I'm like, yeah, I want to build this 54 Plymouth and Mercedes headlights, Viper drivetrain. And we're just kind of having that 5-minute conversation. And at the time, he's like, you know, go to your shop. He faxed literally a 2-minute, you know, one of them sketches of it. And that's what I had with me.
And 2.5 hours later, it printed out.
Yeah. All them noises. But so I went over and got it. So I had it in my pocket. And I'm like, oh, I want to build this 54 Plymouth, you know. And he's like, oh, you know, I'll learn how to drive in a 54 Plymouth, you know, and went through all that whole thing. And I'm like, yeah. And so what are you doing for drivetrain? When I go, I'd really like to do a Viper V10, you know, and all that. And then literally, who's going to build the chassis? You know, I am, you know, whatever, and blah, blah, blah. And by the end of that power tour, he's like, let's get a car. And that's how that came about. And then the rest is history. I got lucky with Tom Gale, at the time was vice president of design or whatever for Chrysler. And I'd met him with my 50 Buick at Detroit Autorama. Didn't know who I was talking to at the time. He's talking to me, well dressed. I'm cleaning my car up, and I'm like, didn't really know who he was.
Yeah.
And I see him speaking, you know, later. I'm like, oh, that's who that was. So I'm like, call him up.
Yeah.
Because I was trying to get a damn Viper engine, and at the time it was exchange only. They tried to keep that all big secret shit, you know, whatever. Couldn't find one at a junkyard, nothing. So I call him on a Friday. I'm like, call his office, and like, oh, he's out of the country right now. And I'm like, oh, you know, you want to leave a message? I'm like, yeah, this is so-and-so, you know, whatever. Monday morning, fucker called me back at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Really?
And this had been like 4 or 5 years since I talked to him. And he said, he'd read off like Rambler Wagon, all the stuff I'd done in the meantime. And I'm like, no way, man. I was like, dude, this is crazy. And he's like, he goes, we can help you out. He said, just give me 2 weeks. We got to go down the chain of command, was his exact thing he said to me.
Down.
This guy's going to call you. This guy's going to call you. I'm like, all right, yep. Don Jankowski calls me. He's the head of Viper R&D. Yeah, come on up Friday, you know, bring a trailer. We'll get you taken care of. And we go up there. And that's right when they brought the GTS coupe out. You know, we're walking there, and I hadn't paid attention. I didn't know there was such a thing. You know, I was still looking at that other shit box. And he's like, we're walking. I'm like, oh, he goes, this is a new GTS coupe, blue with the white stripes, you know, car sitting there. And he's like, yeah, this is the one you're going to take home with. You know, I'm like, fuck, it's a whole car. They gave us a whole fucking car, 1,000 miles on it. Yeah.
Just to get
the whole thing.
The harness.
Yeah, he goes, just bring us something back to crush. That's all he said. I called every son of a bitch I ever met on the way home. I got a fucking Viper for free back here.
How'd you call him?
Well, on a bag phone. On the bag phone.
Isn't that
It
wild?
was awesome.
Like you met this guy happenstance. One, Detroit, but Detroit's crazy because you never know who you're talking
That's
to.
right.
SEMA's another one that you never know who you're talking to.
Yep.
Everybody's got stories of crazy. I mean, from, you know, VP of design of, you know, Toyota to Jaguar. You never know who you're talking to. But we've all had those instances, obviously not to your level. It's world famous, Troy, right?
Yeah.
Right. So
It's lucky.
but to smaller level, there's always those times where, you know, you're like, you mention name, you're like, oh, and that person that you're holding in high regard knows so much about what you've done.
Yeah.
Right.
Like,
But there's the opposite of the, you know, like you run into a guy at a, you know, Good Guys, whatever. It's like, oh, Roach, never heard of you guys, right? What are you?
Yeah, right.
And, you know, or your wife's like, I don't really give a fuck about any of that stuff. Like the trash needs to be taken out. This needs to be done.
Yeah.
This needs to be done. So there's the back and forth.
Yep.
I never am, never cease to be surprised at what we don't know. Like the people that we meet that know everything about what we're doing, that you hold in like, holy fuck, this is the guy that's this, and he knows everything. And then like the size of the industry, like you meet a company, and you're like to your point, Big Al's Carpona. It's probably a stretch on the size of the thing, but the stuff of the like, you're like, holy shit, they do that much. Or the one in the opposite, you're like, oh wow, they're that small.
Yeah.
Like it's amazing on how long we've been in this industry, how many times you're still surprised.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
like,
Yeah.
wow.
Well, you talk about it's not a crazy story. I mean, it is to me, but memorable and along the same lines with George's when we were building the Blowfish. I mean, I was 21 years old when we were working on that car, and that's the first car that I worked on like start to finish in my professional career after school, and just in those first 2 years when I was working for Troy and working on that car for George, like one of the craziest things we did, and there was like no audience for it. we went to this like Skunk Works place where they were doing clay modeling and that sort of thing, and met with Terry DeConnick for he was doing their
He was in
drag
charge
racing
of
stuff.
NHRA and NASCAR all aero development for Mopar.
And because we were doing a Mopar, they wanted to be involved, and so we met with him, and I can't remember what time of year it was.
It was Christmas. It was 2 days before Christmas.
Because y'all wind tunneled that car, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We met him in an off-site just to see
Right,
where
like
we were
2
at with
weeks
the car. 'Cause he
before.
knew nothing about Bonneville.
No.
To show him where we were at.
Yeah, and we took the car, and this was after SEMA, because we had a bunch of the roll cage done and a lot of the car, and essentially a stock front end on it. And so we went and met Terry, and he's like, oh, well, we need to change this, and because he's used to working with like OE, he wants to like try 3 or 4 different noses on it to see which one's better. And I'm like, okay, we're coming back in 2 weeks, so I only have time to build one nose. So what's the best one? Give me the best one. So that's what we did. I mean, there's a picture on the wall in the shop of Troy and I working on that car in the time between.
Yeah.
And so it was between when we met with Terry the first time when we went to the wind tunnel. But when we went to the wind tunnel, it was in the middle of the night. We bring the car up there in the trailer, and there's just a few of us. I think your dad was there, and me, Troy, George, and Danny might have been there.
Yeah.
Of course, Danny was there.
Well, of course, he's always there.
Yeah, he was standing
Whether
in
you
the
see him or
wind
not, he's in the walls. But just going there in the middle of the night, it's literally like it's vacant except
Third
for
shift.
Yeah,
We were
it's
there for
third shift, and we bring the Blowfish in and we set it in that space, and the room is just giant where the wind tunnel is, and it's like everything about it is surreal. It looks like something in Star Wars or something. And get a tour of the facility, but it's so strange even going into the building, because you're going down these corridors with the car and you can't see the other end of it. And they use like golf carts and stuff to get around in there because it's just so massive. And you're like the only, half a dozen people in the entire thing. And then you go test the Blowfish, and Terry's just going crazy because the numbers
slippery,
are right. Yeah. And that's just how that car went from the very beginning. It was just something about the car and the project and everything working on it. And for me, being the first car that I worked on professionally and having those experiences when I'm 21 and he's just losing at the local car show when he's 21.
It was just,
I brought my 13th place ribbon with me.
I love this.
It's extraordinary experience. And for real though, obviously that's built on the reputation and the customer that he already had. And so I said it the last time I was here, is coming into the shop that's established, and he already had those customers and the reputation and all those things, and we got to stand on his shoulders right away. So I had the opportunity at 21 years old to be involved in something like that, and to me it was just so surreal. The entire thing, everything about it was so.
I just say it's always like.
And then
this.
they'll go get a record.
Going to fucking Chrysler's one tunnel, first private car ever to be in. It's always like this.
free Viper motor. Dodge gives you Viper.
Fucking already crushed one. Who cares?
Yeah.
So.
You get to do these things, but you're okay with the minimum wage, right?
You do realize you can't give any advice, because what you experienced was a little out of the norm.
What?
It's not exactly.
It's my reality.
Yeah,
I assume everybody else has the same experiences.
That's how, George was my first big customer. He was a great friend, spoke at my dad's funeral, but that's just the way it went with him, man. I mean, it's like, I've got the free Viper, and he's like, what do you want for it? I'm like, I don't want nothing for it. I just want to do the project, and he brings you cash, and you can't tell him no. And then, then we're doing the damn Blowfish, and just through happenstance and on the right people. We're in a wind tunnel for 40 hours at Chrysler, and
That's cool.
just stuff that money has nothing to do with it. Because I don't give a shit. Hey, I'll pay you $600,000 an hour. It doesn't matter. You either have that deal or you don't have that deal.
I've never met anybody like him.
And it was just so awesome to be able to.
A lot of people want to be him.
Right. It was so awesome to be able to build that stuff and have those experiences for him, because he could do whatever he wanted, obviously, right? But that was just so. I mean, I remember him. He dressed up pretty nice and went there the first time, and he's sitting there, and Terry's explaining all of this stuff about the wind tunnel and stuff, and I mean, it was just awesome. I mean, and then to go out and have success with the car, and that's why it's like, and we're still going to run it, because I campaigned it the last 5 years anyway. George let me just take it and spend my money, but let me use the car, and we're going to try to campaign a little while, because I mean, it's just.
Yeah,
man, there's a lot of memories in there. It's never left the shop. It's always sat in that front stall. It's it's never left there, and we've always campaigned it out of there. And it's just that's just one of them deals.
Well, going back to something that you were talking about, never knowing who necessarily that you're talking to, and whether it's at SEMA or Detroit or whatever, and then later realizing, oh, I was talking to that person, or vice versa. You follow their career, but you find out that they're following yours or whatever. Something I've talked to a lot of people about over the years is, again, being an employee at another shop, you have these opportunities, but just working for people in general, yeah, they have the money to pay you to participate in this industry or hobby or whatever you want to say. But sometimes guys that are working within a shop, not just ours, just in general, feel like, oh, I'm at the bottom of the totem pole here, whatever. But when you think about it in the terms that this person could have whatever they want, whatever they want, and they've been successful enough that they could spend their money anywhere, but they're coming to this shop and having you specifically work on something because you can do something that they feel like they can't get anywhere else. So you should have some pride in the idea that this person, has the means to do whatever they want, but you're the one that is providing them with the thing that they want. And so there's some pride in being able to do that, and they know you in some cases personally as the person that's providing that for them, and they see value in you even though you're not in the same position that they are.
Right. No, it's well said. Yeah. I mean, you never know where I was going. I mean, that's a great point on no matter where you are in the chain, right? Because the chain really doesn't matter. A chain's a chain. Doesn't matter. I mean, the end link, the middle link, the top link, if a link breaks, the chain breaks, right? Yep. So it's all important.
That's powerful. Yeah. Gosh. It really is.
Appreciate that. Yeah. That's a nice thing you said.
Nicely said.
But also to that of, being when I was going with that with shows of being places and stuff, you never have any idea truly. George is a great example.
Yeah.
You can't judge a book by its cover.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have no idea who you're talking to.
Never.
You have no idea whether it's a customer or a Mopar connection, Chevrolet connection, another parts, whatever it is. It doesn't matter. From print media to TV to whatever. You have no idea who you're talking to. But more importantly, you have no idea who's watching.
Yep.
That's the biggest thing that we try to talk about. I definitely try to talk about with guys if we're going to shows or even at just the shop. If you're just building a crate, if you're loading a box, whatever, and there's customers picking up chassis, you never know who's watching.
There's only one time for the first time.
Yes.
I told Phil earlier. One time.
Yep.
First impression.
100%.
And it's all the same to me, not to interrupt you, but
no,
like building that 36 or sweeping the floor, it's the same. Do your best and do it right. And some guys get that, and some guys don't. Oh, you're just saying that. But that's why was I skydiving through the paint booth roof? Because I had nothing else to do. Yeah. Just because it's like lead by example, and that needed to be done. Just like I needed to put the brakes on a Camaro. I mean, it's the same thing. And once you get that mentality, then you're gonna get. Then when they get it, then you're gonna get it. You pay attention, and all the details line up, and that's when stuff starts happening. But it's some guys. It takes a while to get it.
It's some guys it takes a while, but there's other times that it doesn't. You
They
know,
don't
and
even-
they get it.
Yeah, they get it, or some don't get it.
Yeah.
And that's okay, whatever. But it's all the same to me. It's got to be done right.
Yeah, nobody ever has a story of like, oh man, you're never gonna believe this. Like, I fucked up big time, and this guy saw it, and then like 2 years later, he calls me. He's like, hey, I know you fucked up, right?
Yeah.
But what about?
I want to give you another chance.
Yeah, it's hey, I saw this, you did this,
Well, it's like building a piece of shit and bringing it out. You're gonna stand there. And let's say the customer had no money at the end or whatever.
Oh.
They don't know the customer. What are you going to stand there and tell everybody, oh, man, I was, the reason this sucks is because the guy didn't want to pay me. It's like, no, it's you.
That is my
It's you.
biggest pet peeve.
And if you say you're going to be there, I've done it a lot early on.
Be there.
I'm there. Yeah. Whether I had to eat the last 4, 5, 6, 8 weeks of it, the car was there.
Yeah.
Right?
That's the worst thing.
Man it up.
In this industry has been the last 20-something years going to car shows, running into somebody and like, hey, hey, you just brought this out. That's cool. And the first thing they say or start making excuses of like, well, we couldn't do this. The customer wouldn't let. Well, you already know all the things that are wrong.
Right.
And the problem is most of the things that are wrong had nothing to do with real money.
You could have made him right. It was just hours.
It was just hours.
Yes.
You didn't have to buy something.
Exactly
It
right.
was just hours.
Yep.
And it's just fucking do it.
One time for the first
Or
time.
at the very least, don't bring it up.
Right.
Just don't tell me about the thing that you know is wrong.
Yep.
Yeah, it's the insecurity. They got to fire it off. To
Right.
pre-excuse.
Just be like, hey, you like this? Like, yeah. It's
Let me give you this
fucking cool.
disclaimer. You got 45 minutes?
I just wrote it down here.
Here's a
That's what they
brochure.
should do. You got
This
the
is about
billboard.
the car. That's all this
Save
shit.
everybody a lot of
So
time.
it
There you go.
sucks.
Here's the whole backstory.
All right, we're grading on a curve. Okay, cool.
Yeah, there's a lot of that shit that goes on, man.
Where y'all going next?
Probably
Columbus?
Yeah, probably Columbus. Yeah.
Columbus, Triple Crown,
The Rock.
The Rock, and SEMA.
Yeah.
Do you think Bobby will remember that that's the same car he judged at
No,
Amber?
not a chance.
It'll be a new one.
No, not a
13th
chance.
place
Yeah.
ribbon coming
But
up.
think about that. He'd be excited all over again.
Yeah.
It's a brand new car.
Those colors.
He might
and
miss it
stuff,
altogether.
That's some pretty edgy,
Yeah, he'll go
sophisticated color
Baby
palettes there.
caca, he'll say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He loves the baby diaper
Yeah,
jokes.
he does.
I love your color palette. I'm a green and earth tony guy.
Yep. I mean, we spend a lot of time, like everybody else does too, but on all the, there's textures and finishes, everybody does. But I mean, that's part of the reason we're going to do our own powder coating and Cerakoting, because, we have a little more control of experimenting. And because that is the make or break, right? I always said, if that car was exactly like it is and it was black and chrome,
Who picked the chicane
I
colors?
think it'd be half as good. I did that.
Chicane? The chicane?
Yeah.
you
the
mean?
chicane.
No,
ever since
Yeah, what's the
chicane.
official name?
Chicane.
Chicane.
It's chicane.
Shawshank Redemption. Shaquille O'Neal.
Chicane. Ever
You guys seen that? Obviously, probably did that. So Glenn, when I picked that colors out, I mean his exact words, and Glenn, you're fucking whack down there in Argentina. What are you drinking?
We should call it the fucking jag
He
off.
goes,
This fucking
whatever you want, you get into. He goes, that's exact words to me. I'm like, I go, man, these colors are sick. I'm pumping it all up and shit, and I show it to him, and he's just like, you're whack.
Ever since chicane,
Yeah.
you haven't missed on the color choice.
that one's
My
been
personal
good,
opinion.
yeah.
What
Before
happened?
that,
Before
maybe
you
a little,
did?
maybe a little different.
The
maybe a little,
pastels.
the pastel. But
It's
it
a
was
different
a thing.
era.
Yeah, big bang for the buck on those,
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's good. It's we work good together now. I mean, because bouncing that off each other and letting it kind of, like that with all them different colors and finishes on that. They're all subtle. There's like 8 or 9 different ones on that 36, but they're
Yeah, you're never going to
subtle.
let a color talk louder than the car.
Yeah. No.
Well,
Yeah, be
and
careful.
doing like interior swatches and all that stuff, and the top color. I mean, we probably had the top color and material picked out before the.
Yeah, that was early. 'Cause that's a color
Yeah.
we'd seen. It's kind of when it's on its own. It's like, man, that could go a lot of different ways.
I think we might have had the spray out for the paint. Maybe one spray out when I was looking at the top material, and then the leather was after that. And when you're talking about paint's infinite. I mean, you could keep mixing it forever. but powder coats are a little more limited, and then leather colors and materials are more limited than that.
Until you find the one you really like and they don't have it.
Right.
Right.
Of course, yeah. Yes.
Does that happen?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're struggling with colors right now. Fucking leather's just kicking my ass this past couple of weeks.
As many cows as there are out there, you're telling me you can't find a cow that's the right color.
Discontinuing everything.
Yeah.
As soon as you find something you like, you can't get your fucking hands on it. It's
What company?
everybody.
Everybody.
Like I've had Morin Giles, Hides, Garrett, and you find something you fucking love. Like I've got thousands of samples from all the years you've like accumulated this stuff, and you're like, dude, that's the fucking one. And you put like three different colors together, and then it's discontinued.
Yeah.
And they're
Troy raises the cows down in Montana.
Yeah, we have our own cows.
like, what are you guys primarily using?
Brown cows.
For
We
this?
use
You have, like-
Garrett a lot. Use Garrett a lot. Yeah.
Because the thing, like, you want to find the stuff that's more, I feel like, the stuff that they're using in fucking couches and shit. Because there's so much, it's such a more diverse fucking group of samples. Like, the automotive stuff, it's like so vague. Like, black, red, a couple different
Horrible
shades,
textures.
a couple different grains.
Horrible
and
textures.
It all sucks.
Well, a company like Garrett is marketing to interior design anyway.
Yeah.
Their automotive market's such a small portion of theirs, so that they have that in Spinning-Beck as well.
Yep.
The thing I found between the two of those, just for example, is how they price things out and hides and that sort of thing. Because like Spinning-Beck will tell you how many square feet of something they have. They won't tell you how many hides it is, but they also don't tell you, when you're talking about the yield of each one of them, it can vary. And then Garrett will tell you, okay, we have this many hides, but what's the average square foot you want per hide or something like that.
Sure.
But that to me is more accurate, because like their yield is 90+% because the hide's that good.
Got it.
And so, I'll go to them more often than not, just because it's easy to order and they have good options, and they'll just tell you right up front, if they have it, and they update the books and all that stuff.
Remember, you could just buy yards of gray tweed
Hey, you guys got Joanne Fabric.
Hey, it's just a matter of time.
and be done.
Hey,
and be done with it.
we're good. What do you think we're doing in that F-87?
Oh yeah,
Somebody's got to bring
tweed.
it back.
It's
Yeah.
it's out there in that black OBS out there.
Yep.
Yeah, we
Yep.
did do some tweet there.
Yep.
Called tees, get some seats done.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, dude, I spent a week
Hey,
up at T's.
yeah.
Jeez.
Tell the story about going up there.
Jesus.
Tommy won't
Old Tommy,
mind.
my old buddy Tommy.
He helped you with the
He
interior.
wanted help with we were doing his, using his seats back in the day and all that. And he wanted help with the Rambler wagon. So I'm like, all right. So we brought it up there, me and Thrash, we brought it up there, and we're going to do the interior up there. I'm like, that's cool because, it's kind of out of,
Because Tommy's
we'll
the
help,
man.
but whatever.
Yeah.
He's been running ads
he's
as long as
bringing
Al.
bankers in there showing him this car and everything, right? I'm like, hey, we going to work on a car or what's going on, And we're like, we go down to Menards, get all this rope and plywood and shit. What are we gonna hang somebody?
You're gonna want to hang yourself.
So we do this terrible headliner, get it in there, and then we seats, he did them there, and then that was like it. That was the time was up. We're like, oh, we got the seats done and this
Headline.
average
color?
headliner, and it was
Wait, what color was the outside of the car first?
well, it was I don't remember the exact name. It was like tomato red and black, but I don't remember the exact red.
And the
but-
interior was what?
and it was bone, not bone white or not, yeah, kind of like
Off-white.
a bone white. Great idea.
dirty white.
So we literally like, okay, load it up, come back. Because I'm like, I got a hot rod centerfold shoot. Scott Clean's come to the shop in 4 days. We come back, we got the seats done in this shit headliner and with ropes in it. And I'm like, oh, fucking anyway. So we start literally, the joke is
Tint the
me and
windows.
Thrasher literally is down to like Scott Clean's there to shoot it, and we're like taking poster board and like putting resin on it and making shapes and wrapping like poster board and doing this interior. I mean, it's like fucking mess.
Creamy white.
Oh, it was terrible. Yeah, it had a badass sound system in it though. But yeah,
But the hot rod centerfold didn't have an interior shot. It was just the girl with the surfboard or something.
I don't remember. It
Oh,
wasn't. It
I
wasn't
remember
good. It wasn't good. Yeah, but yeah.
Did that
So been there, done all that shit.
talk about seats and interior? The chicane is a funny one because this is like a long-standing joke here. We had this kid that worked for us, and this was early in Indy, and you guys
Bender?
No, this is pre-Bender, way pre-Bender. You guys come cruising through Indy in the chicane, and we're all like young fucking kids, and we got this dude there, and we're all standing there, and it's like our jaws drop, and it was like almost like a scene from like The Sandlot. And we're like,
the
At the pool?
exactly. And someone is like, dude, that fucking interior, like, and everybody's saying something, and someone's, dude, that fucking interior looks so comfortable. Like, weirdest comment, right? And this kid, he looks over, he's a new kid at the shop, he's like, it is. Like, fuck? Like, what do you, how the fuck do you know?
So that became the joke.
Yeah.
It's so comfortable.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. Trust me.
It is. Yeah.
That's fucker. That 3/4 inch thick suede in it. Yeah. Oh shit.
Oh.
Yeah, that was awesome. Yeah.
Fellas, it's been awesome.
Good stuff.
You got a law enforcement story, Troy?
Oh,
I'm sure he does.
yes.
Do I? Oh,
I don't know.
sniped her?
I don't know.
Your
I
most
told- I
memorable
said
law
that one.
enforcement.
Most memorable law enforcement story.
Well, it's got to be this driving a sniper. So,
Okay. Go ahead.
Power
Tell.
tour. Am I missing? I'm not missing one, right?
Did you
No,
tell
I
this
think that's
story?
it.
I probably did. Yeah, when we got pulled
Maybe.
over going 150 or whatever in a sniper, me and Angelo from Ford on the 97 power tour going through Colorado, and I got Angelo Giampettrio and
Yeah.
SVO in his Ford jacket riding in a sniper, we're buzzing. I'm like, the canyon opened up, so we're like just buzzing, man. I'm like, oh yeah, stretching this thing out. My old man was running in a Bisquick. We had that 604-inch trick flow motor, that fucker running about 90, and I'm like, just kind of ease it out there, and we're just, and all of a sudden, pumped up. All of a sudden, lights. I'm like, oh shit. Fucking Angela, like, you're fucking going to jail. I don't know if you know Angela,
I've heard the stories.
Yeah, so anyway, the cop comes up, and I mean, we're going, like, it's like 135, I think, or something. He's like, hey, where you guys going? Oh, we're doing this power tour thing, and all this and that. Yeah, I seen all the cars. He's like, that's cool. He said, but, you're going a little fast. And he said, whatever, 135. And so he's like, license and registration. We got an airbrush license plate on the back. Fucking, I'm digging under the seat, thinking, oh man, no insurance, nothing, right? I'm
It's
like,
here
"Ah,
somewhere.
all right, have none." I give him my license, and the guy walks back, and Angela's like, "You're fuck," in his voice, I mean, he's such a great dude, and he's got a Ford Motorsport jacket on, and he comes back up, and the guy hands me the license back, and he's like, "Are you the Troy Trepanier?" Oh, look at this fucker digging something out. You're the Troy Trepanier that I read about in a Hot magazine. I'm like, yeah, and he's like, just slow it down a little bit or something. And he's like, you fucking asshole. So we go to the next town, and that was our stop for the night. And the guy shows up, and I think we gave him some T-shirts and shit.
Yeah.
But it was pretty cool.
That bought you something with Angelo, though.
Yeah. Oh no, he was a cool guy, man. What do you got here? Oh, here we go.
Oh shit!
Stuff with Troy in it here.
Oh, remember my good books.
Yeah.
I was on the cover.
Wait.
The fact it's got
Hey, I
Marlboro
was
on
on
the
the
back
cover.
that's an oldie.
Yeah.
I do have the record. I think 10 hot rod covers.
Yes.
Smash Boyd. Yeah.
Right here.
Here's the
Right here. We got a cam.
Listen, I went to Australia in 07, and I think that's the only magazine I ever got in Australia because I signed that thing literally 10,000 times.
What about the trim on
Some
this? I
little
mean, it's
beat
all
to
one
shit.
coat.
You can't see it from that angle.
That was before Glenn, huh? That was
Yeah.
whole Boyd's.
That's Boyd. Hey, listen, they only set of Boyd wheels at the Street Machine Nationals, first of all. They didn't even know what they were looking at.
Really?
Yeah. There's 3,000 cars. It was all weld and center line and all that shit.
That car's still around too.
Yeah, it's down south. Yeah. We drove across country.
It was at
It was a good
Columbus
car,
like 3
actually.
years ago,
Yeah.
4 years ago.
Yeah.
He's busting your balls, but you wouldn't have a fucking job if it wasn't.
I know. Look at that.
Oh, you think I wouldn't find a job somewhere else?
Show them the milk crate picture where they're all caving in. It's in there. Yeah.
Where you're going to get crushed?
In my dad's back shop. Right there. Look at the milk crates, Josh. You're like half crushed down on me.
Oh, yeah, you were an innovator. That was before the cool.
See, I got the dirty G.
2x4.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they're all caving in.
Did Tim Strange help you build that?
Yeah, well, Hey, he was out running with me back then. Hell yeah.
That was almost the end of Troy.
Yeah. That was
Here's
yeah.
what I wanted to point out. though.
Oh, here we
Forget Harbor Freight.
They had me on the cover.
That's danger.
On one end of this centerfold, this feature, it's got J. Chisholm Western boots, right? And on the other end for advertising,
They had 1 million subscribers back
cigarettes.
then.
no.
They had 1 million subscribers.
Yeah, back in that back then. Yeah, firearms.
Glock ad.
0 to 900.
When was the last time you saw
wow.
a car magazine anyway, but that didn't just advertise
And then
automotive?
on the back comes.
Oh yeah. Hey, you want to be a badass? Ride this horse.
That was in the heyday.
Americana,
Dude's
right
not
there.
even smoking a cigarette.
What's the
No.
what's
Well, what's funny is in one of these there is a Newport
1990.
ad, and there's like 8 people, and they're just eating French fries. They couldn't
Toxic
convince any of them to
masculinity.
smoke a Newport.
1990?
You fuckers weren't even born, were you, Jeremy?
Yeah, I was 83. Born 83.
Okay.
I was I graduated in 97, so I was 7 years before I graduated, give or take, right around there.
That's hard math because you were in high school for longer
Look
than
at
most.
this.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of this, Josh? Magma? Fucking cigarettes? Showing how cool you can.
Those
No.
are badass.
I've never heard.
Is he smoking? Oh,
He is.
cartoon
He's
can
smoking.
smoke. Okay.
Is that a chip, Randy?
I was going to ask. Chip on that?
Upside
No,
down.
I don't remember
That
Magna.
computer, too.
See, I'm going
Look at
on
that
stage to get
computer.
another ring.
Yeah,
See that picture?
it says right here that
Tired of the rings.
Trepanier family and their friends as Troy's 60 Impala won the Grand Champion Street Machine Award. Troy added a 4th Super Bowl style ring to his collection.
Mom's got them all. I got more rings than Tom Brady.
Yeah. The archives at his mom's house
She
is like
has
the
them,
basement
too.
of the Vatican.
Hey, that's like
Get
when,
another one.
when Brett Vocal worked for BDS, and we'd go out and have dinner, and nobody
Yeah.
knew who he was. You know, he was working for BDS. Me and
Yeah.
him were buddies back then, and yeah, he turned out pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun back then.
But
man.
here's-
look, I'm
here's-
on the cover.
he's
That
on the
sumbitch
cover
is
here.
Not even my
Look.
car. Hey, we need a model.
Yeah.
Look,
just
Phil.
need-
Who's that?
We
Who's
need
that?
a model.
Iceman?
Oh,
Got the prototype,
shit.
prototype Oakley's on and the hypercolor
Is
shirt.
that you have a remote control
Oh
in
yeah,
your hand, too.
yeah. Real.
He's not even leaning on his
It's not
car.
even my car. They're like, hey, come on, man.
It's just
Just
another
lean over
mint
it.
colored car.
Shit, you got a little mullet going on there,
Oh
too.
yeah, I had all that shit.
He's
Yeah.
he's what the kids would consider boss back then.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of that picture,
It is
You-
Iceman.
you guys-
I'm telling you, that's
I know, right?
He's got a little Kilmer in him.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest, you look pretty fucking cool there.
Yeah, I can't say. I can't. There's nothing that we can
I want
be
to make
said.
fun, I want to make fun of it,
horribly
but
for Adam.
it's pretty badass.
My youngest boy absolutely is identical to that right now. I mean, identical. My wife's like, oh my God. Yeah. I go, see what you got to look forward to. Yeah. Yeah. No, it was good. I think I got 10, maybe, at least 10. I
Rings
did,
or
I did
hot rod
upstate
covers?
hot rod covers.
Nice.
I upstaged
10
Boyd.
covers.
Yeah. That's when it mattered though. Like when they had hot
Yeah.
rod top 10 and shit, man, that's what
Yeah.
that's what I was looking back in the day. I mean, that's what you wanted. And I had my
That's-
60 Chevy was Hot Rod Magazine Car of the Year. My Buick was Hot Rod Car of the Year 2 years later. And then the best was in 07. We had the Blowfish was as a race car was Hot Rod Magazine Car of the Year, and the First Love was there both in the top 10.
Oh.
What was cool about that was full race car, and I mean
Yeah,
full show
full
car.
show.
Yeah.
So that was
Opposite
pretty
ends,
cool.
yeah.
The First Love, that was 07?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yep.
Chicane was on
20.
the cover of Hot Rod, right?
Yeah.
Or Popular Hot Rod.
Popular Hot Rod, yeah.
Popular Hot Rod.
Yep.
They have Troy in his bike shorts squinting at the sun on the cover. Short shorts.
I think you've got your new curator.
Right, yeah, he's got this different perspective than everybody else. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
Work too close to him.
Yep.
guys, it's as always,
Fucking blast.
absolutely a
I
blast.
got one more thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm not.
Keep it
I
coming.
won't stretch
Please.
this out too much
wait.
longer.
No,
but-
you can.
Hey,
I'm trying to be respectful of your time. We'll go till
I don't-
9 o'clock. I
Yeah.
don't care. Let's go.
I don't care about Troy's time. He's not getting home unless I drive him. Man.
Yeah.
He's had like 8 of these Miller
Nah.
Extra Lights. He's
I
got to go
shut
to
her
the
down.
bathroom.
I got to work tomorrow.
I've listened to most of the podcasts, at
Just
least
the
with the
good
builders
ones.
and that sort of thing. In the first season, I think you had Chad Glasshagel on it, which I had the pleasure of spending some time with him when I was in Austin here.
Oh, just recently, right?
Just
Yeah.
recently, yep. And then the same episode, you had the infamous John York
Yep.
come in, and it's when you guys revealed Jeremy's affinity for pumpkin spice lattes, right? Well, John,
it could be argued.
You're the only one that's ordered them,
right?
So
Sure. Well, John,
that can't be argued.
which then you diverted to Phil and said, well, he has a complicated order and blah blah blah.
He does.
He does.
I drink black coffee.
Yeah,
That's what I drink.
yeah.
No.
Well, John said you guys were all doing it wrong, and you should just order cafe Americanos, right?
Okay.
To which Josh replied, well, we order them all the time. They're great. You know, they're so badass. They come in a denim cup, which for whatever reason tickled me to death. And so,
We got some masculine.
in that
trucks
same
coming up.
spirit,
Look, that's the most awesome.
I got an oil and whiskey decanter.
Look at the back pocket. Look at the back pocket.
Now in the back pocket, there's not much for a pocket dump here. I know you haven't done that for a long time, and I was collecting things when we were going to do this in February. I had all sorts of shit, all sorts of stuff. I got to watch my language on here, but I found something. This isn't a truck stop treasure, but more of a flea market find. But when I saw it, I thought of Josh.
Thing I've ever seen.
I thought of Josh. All right. So this is a
good.
Dale Earnhardt, 7-time Winston Cup champion.
Lighter?
Intimidator lighter.
It's the greatest. It's the
family
greatest
heirloom right
gift
there.
I've ever been given.
Genuine gold plating.
I want to
Not
see
really.
you using that for every smoke break.
It works too.
I can show you how I use it right now.
Holy shit!
Let's see if
That's
it works.
the real deal.
Is there any fuel in
See
it?
if it works.
Yeah.
Oh, it is. It's light. That's a burning son bitch.
There's a smoke detector
Yeah,
right above you.
oh.
That fucker's going off.
Yeah.
Yeah, dip it in the whiskey. Be a man.
Set this mother on fire.
Look at this.
Dude,
That's more impressive.
But one other thing for the pot. Well, I was going to put a $2 bill in here because you had guests that had $1,000 bills in their pocket just by chance. But if we ask,
Yeah.
if we ask all our grandmothers, a $2 bill is going to be worth way more than $1,000.
I got
right?
a whole stack of them from my grandmother.
Yeah,
So worth
there's
$2.
Yep.
There's only one other thing in the pocket here, and it's obviously the most important thing.
Oh, please tell me. I know what this is.
There you go.
Oh, a little chapstick for you. Hey, they've come around. This motherfucker he can't leave home without chapstick.
There you go.
When I travel out west, yeah. it's-
Bonneville, man. You gotta have
Keep
it.
that because you keep those. You got to keep those lips moist, my friend.
Is that not awesome though?
Dude, this is fucking amazing.
That's the greatest thing.
I love this. And this is that the leather from
36.
Yeah.
Yep.
Dude.
That's I didn't even see you make.
I think we're gonna stop the podcast.
So that's what he was doing. I was hurt for 8 weeks.
Yeah. That's
I didn't get
How
any
many
work done.
billable hours?
Yeah, no shit.
We're gonna stop the podcast after this season, and we're just gonna open this up as a museum.
Yes.
People are gonna pay and come to see the things. Is that not crazy?
Are those Troy's bike shorts you're talking about?
Yeah.
The shorties?
No, they were tight black.
You
Yeah.
got it from my mom. They were in the attic too.
I was going to say, legend has it these were made from the Oil and Whiskey podcast host pants, and I'm going to have all sorts of crazy stuff in there.
I might take that across the street in the morning and have them juice it up with a pumpkin spice.
There you go.
A couple of extra pumps of caramel or something.
Yeah.
Oh, fellas, absolutely amazing time. As always, we've had you both individually, but together, it's been great. I can't thank you guys enough for bringing the car up. It meant a lot for the guys. It meant a lot for us.
Meant the world to the guys. And
Yeah.
it truly inspired the team here, man. That's a fucking work of art. It's awesome to, man.
Thank you.
I think everybody spent at least a solid hour just.
On the fact that you drove it and like that's a flex, honestly. You're like, oh, we won a trophy. Like, what about this? We also drive it. Hey.
Yeah, I'm gonna have some explaining to do tomorrow. All right, so guys, here's the deal.
Thank you. We
It was
appreciate
weird. There
you
was
guys
a
what
help
you're doing.
wanted ad in there too that you were paying.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. I told you the
It
Joey
happens.
thing. Like, I got the Joey under contract, right? He's a great employee.
Yeah.
Columbus. We'll see you guys next at Columbus, right?
Yep.
Yeah, we'll be there.
Absolutely.
Everybody that's listening, beers on you guys at the trailer.
Absolutely.
On
But
Troy,
they're gonna
yep.
be these
Bring
shit
it in.
beers.
Yeah.
I got all this stuff you can drink. I've been buying it out. Moose, just come get it from Moose. He'll have it at the trailer.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. See you guys next week.
Guys.